toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, y más allá. Convierta en rayos, y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, y más allá. Crecemos en número, en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles, y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad.
wait. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on, get loose with the heat. Right now, right now. We go party till we black out. So get the fuck up.
Follow your trail and I'm losing your mind and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you. I'm not above, let me be myself. I'm not above, let me be myself. don't know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Wait to shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution.
Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want. Just give me what I
Good afternoon and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport for the Monza circuit round 15 and 16 of the season. I'm your host Matthew Duffin and I'm joined in the commentary box tonight with Andy. So Andy, glad to have you back here and hope you're well.
It's good to be back, mate. Yeah, unfortunately I had to miss yesterday's events, the Pro-Am series, where we saw DJ Phil taking his first win. I'm gutted I missed that, but as I say, I'm absolutely delighted to be back here in the commentary box alongside yourself at the Temple of Speed here tonight, and really looking forward to this one. Well, if yesterday's anything to go by, then we're in for an absolute treat.
Indeed we are. Just one quick of information, you'll only notice that there's 14 guys on the grid. We will soon be getting Little Each, he's just sorting out his update, but there will only be 15 cars for this race, as Dean Rosocki picked himself up a ban for race 1 due to incidents last week cutting the pit lane and then forcing drivers off the track. He already had penalty points to his name, so he's picked up the remaining penalty points needed to get a ban for the first race. So that is Dean's first ban of the season. His points will now reset at 0 and have 12 more left. If he does get another ban, it will be for a whole entire Thursday evening where he won't be able to participate with us. So Dean will be back for race 2, but he's not with us for race 1. But going into this one, the championship leader's there, and I am told that Gary is on the pedals on the wheel. So Gary, possibly a man back in form. I know he's been over at Motive Racing with buttons on the wheel. I think, oh, we've lost a guy. We've lost a driver. We've got one back. Little Each is back. I'm not quite sure who we've lost. But Little Each is back. It's not Peaceful Explosion. He's been having internet problems all day. Yes, so I do believe Gary is back on the pedals. He did say earlier he was going to try them tonight and test with them a little bit. I know over at your Motive Racing with you guys, he's been on the buttons on the wheel, but has struggled somewhat. So he's felt comfortable on the pedals.
Well, to be fair, considering that he was using his buttons as accelerators and brakes, it was actually a really good performance for him on Sunday in the touring cars. He was, battling it out in, I think, 4th and 5th at one point in that race. So, you can't really put him down in that situation because it's not easy. Because you can't really sort of measure how much you're putting the power down in terms of when you're getting on the throttle. It's very tricky to do so. But it's also quite a bold move for Gary to be already moving back to those pedals. Obviously he had a knee operation just over a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now I think. So when you consider that, I mean, it's pretty brave of him to be jumping in head first, but at the moment he seems to be alright. But the question is, obviously over a race distance, is he going to start to feel a bit of wear and tear? We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Well, this is the problem. This is the questions that we'll all be asking tonight, no doubt. Just going to quickly run through the championship standings. Mazda leads on 205 points, 18 clear of the man you see on screen at Gary 131. Little Each's brother then sits P3, 29 off the lead. Little Each is in the session. No, he's not in the session at the moment, so must be having trouble after the update with these pedals and stuff. Sooty Apex sits 4th, 33 points off of Mazda, with Peaceful Explosion then in P5, 39 points off a Mazda. Phil 49 points behind and is just slowly drifting away from the other guys as well. Phil is another one not on circuit, so I wonder if he's loaded the game. I know on Project Cars, if you load the game up with a pad, not the wheel, it'll sometimes not register the wheels, pedals or steering, so I wonder if that's the
there was a
problem.
match disconnection just a few moments ago, Matt. We did lose 3 guys, so we've dropped down to 12 runners here in this qualifying session. I'm not exactly sure what's happened there, but certainly there's been some kind of error with the network here. Hopefully PSN is keeping itself tidy tonight, because we don't want to be seeing anyone losing out due to poor connection problems.
No, indeed we won't. 1 second.
So Mazda currently coming round. He's going to be the first man to set a flying lap here. He's coming into Ascari at the moment. Mazda has usually been the quickest man in the dry conditions over the course of this season so far here at SimPlay. He's been no slouch in the wet either. He's always up there or thereabouts, taking the most wins of anybody this season, I believe, here in this Pro Series. Just coming up with Parabolica.
Yeah, he has. I've just heard from Phil. Sorry, I've just heard from Phil that he can't. It's not letting him back in. So we're going to try and restart the game and see if that will work. Hopefully, that is not the case. Otherwise, we will, because we had, like you say, you did have a bit of a mass disconnection. We may have to restart the events now.
Yeah, and obviously that's only fair on the guys who did drop out. As we see Mazda there coming over the line. He does 1 minute 48.7, solid time there from Mazda. But I'm sure that we can be seeing improvements from him as this session goes along. He's just done all stuff jumping back in, I think, or is it?
No, Little Leach has just jumped back in. Yeah, Little Leach has just jumped back in, so he's in for the session. And I didn't finish reading through the table. Mazda, to answer your question, Mazda most wins. He has indeed. He's got 4, so that answers that one. He has got the most wins in the Pro category. Phil sits.
Quick note: D Biggs has also got kicked out and can't get back in as well. So
oh, is he saying that on the stream?
Yeah, he's saying that on the YouTube comments section. So there's obviously some kind of a big issue going on with PlayStation Network. It could be the online championships. So I don't know if we'll have to jump in and do a private lobby.
Yeah, I've told him the same as I've told Phil, to just restart the game, close the game and reload it. If that doesn't work, we will set up a new session, so please bear with us. Always seems to be a problem some night or other with
however, nowadays with the new setup here on the streams, you will have a lovely little interval screen lined up for when we do go off air. So guys, obviously,
I think what we'll do as well is we'll make the qualifying 10 minutes as well. We'll drop the qualifying down, so you guys aren't going to sit there waiting for too long. We will drop the qualifying down. Evening to Buzzy Boy, Keegs, Gary, Fury's granddad's here. He's always there to cheer on Fury. Evening to Ricky Holt. We saw him make his debut at SimPlay last night. Holty 009 qualified well, but didn't get the race performance he'd have wanted. D Biggs as well in the chat. So is Jamie Brazier. Jamie Brazier in the chat after what he must consider a disappointing night for himself last week.
Yeah, last night it seemed to be a return to the old times for him. He's obviously been slacking on his visits to the church over the last week because he really was found wanting yesterday. The last couple of weeks it seemed like his internet was starting to rally itself together, but it's well and truly dumped him in it. And DJ Phillip was the one who capitalised on that and took a double win last night in the Pro-Am series in the wet conditions. DJ Phil was something of a rainmaster in it.
Drove really well, Andy. He did really well last night. He did fantastically well. Got his head down where others had problems. That was a bit of lag there. Does that mean we've got someone? D Biggs is back in, and I can't see Phil. So it's worked for D Biggs. So we've got D Biggs back in at the moment. So I'm just waiting to see if Phil can get back in. We are only missing the one driver. And I've also got Smith in the chat. Yeah, DJ Phil last night was so good. He was absolutely brilliant. Interesting to see these times at the minute. Gary only 4/10 off the pole time with his bad knee. Oh, as he gets the rear end all kind of sideways there, and he's done well to hang on to that one. Fury's having a good qualifying session, only 7/10 off the pole, man. He's up in P5.
I would love to know what Jamie Brazier's plan is for his internet, though, Matt. I really would.
Well, I'll tell you what his plan is. I'll tell you what his plan is. He texted me earlier. He says my Wi-Fi nightmares might be over. I asked him how. He said a TP link and an Ethernet cable.
TP
link. How have you been saying an Ethernet cable for?
I've been telling him to get an Ethernet cable since I started commentating on SimPlay, which was back at Silverstone. So it's a while ago now. So yeah, it is. Finally heeded that advice. But I think Church probably wasn't quite sufficient to. I mean, it's helped him, but I think in the end you've got to rely on technology rather than prayers to answer your demands. Here in the sim racing world, as you see Gary coming over the line, he can't improve at the moment. But yeah, I think Jamie Brazier is definitely going to come on strong with a little bit of wide connection.
Yeah, and I think he needs to now with 4 races left in the Pro-Am category. He needs to dropping off the pace of the back runners as well. We've got Phil in, so Phil has managed to get his problem solved. So thankfully we don't have to restart this one. You'll see one man isn't qualifying, he's not qualifying for the remainder of the season. He's the only G. Came into it quite late, and because he's not hoping any team score points, G is decided to not qualify for these events. But he's a full-time member of next season, and I tell you what, he's one to watch out for. Fury, though, I said was sat P5. He's just dropped to 6th as Sutty's gone on pole. He's on the wall at the moment, that's at the second chicane. Fury took his first podium last week, so for the Motive lads, they're starting to get to grips here at SimPlay and get on the podium a bit more, if not take the first wins like DJ Phil last night. And it's nice to see different people on the podiums, Andy, whether it's wins or just podiums in general. It's nice to see a variety of people battling it out for such a tight top 3.
Yeah, it is. You always want to see an open field where anybody has an opportunity of getting themselves up onto the top step or even podium, and Fury did a great job for second at Fuji last week. Came pretty close to getting the win as well. He was maybe a couple of laps longer and he might have got there, but he's been putting in some good performances lately. We were just talking about Sutty Apex going top of the pile, but Mazda has just trumped that one. He's the first man into the 47 tier in this qualifying session, so Mazda's flying out there at the moment, but Sutty Apex is just coming up through the final sector now, and we see somebody getting out of shape there, and they've immediately brought it into the pits, so it doesn't look... hold on. No, it didn't. That was... I think that was... I'm not sure who that was, but Sutty Apex has pitted there, so he's bailed out of that attempt. And also Dobson sat third. Good lap there from Dan. Gary's just gone up to 4th.
It's quite a close top 6, Andy. It's just under a second, separate the top 6 places here. 3 of them BMWs, 1 Lamborghini and 2 Porsches. I know Little Each and Phil and D-Biggs have pretty much only come into the lobby and not got many laps in at the moment. But we're seeing some very close lap times here around the Monza Grand Prix circuit, and not a lot of tactics that I thought we'd see. I thought we'd see something similar to last night with Holty and Deeks, where teammates may want to sacrifice a lap for the slipstream to their fellow teammate, but we're not seeing that here. We're seeing a lot of drivers quite spaced out. We've not got the F1 jumbled up down the back straight like we saw earlier this season in the Formula 1, where it's...
oh, how ridiculous was that?
Oh, silly, really silly. I think these guys have got their heads screwed on a bit better than the F1 drivers, but yeah, you know, it's good to see that they're not tripping up each other, and they've got quite a fair gap between each other, so they've got clear runs. They can't really blame any performance if they're going to not get the lap done. It's their own fault at the moment, because nobody's really getting a tow. One man who could do with a tow is this man here. The Acura will struggle tonight, not really the best on top end speed. And Monkey Boy 2 seconds off the time at the minute. That's not too bad for the Acura, you know, time to gain, and with a wet race coming, the Acura could be one to watch in the wet conditions, better in the wet conditions than the drier to track that is more for the quicker cars. And with no teammate tonight, can he get his head down in race 1 and put in a performance that we need to see?
Yeah, his teammate will be joining him for race 2, obviously Dean, but it's Dean, isn't it?
Yeah, Dean.
Yeah. But Dean will be joining us for race 2. He's only serving a 1 race ban on this occasion, but should he fall foul of the stewards in future, there could be a more severe penalty for him. But Monkey Boy is currently, as you say, doing a decent job when you consider the fact that he's driving a car that pretty much is a tortoise down those straights. He's strong in this part of the track though. Lesmo 1, Lesmo 2, gets a little bit wide onto the curb, but you can see they're trying to maximise his speed at very wide entry into the corner, all the way onto the white lines, trying to compensate for this part of the track here, where he's going to be losing hand over fist. But currently Mazda's leading this qualifying session. He's got 3 tenths to Sutty Apex, who's just coming through Parabolica now. I think that might be an outlap for Sutty, just based on my timekeeping skills, I think.
Yeah, I think he came out of the pits.
Out.
I'm not sure, but I think you're right there, Andy.
Yeah, I think he came out of the pits about 2 minutes ago, so this must be an outlap for Sutty. Keep an eye on that. Yeah, it is. So Unorthodox coming up towards the line now. Let's see what he can do. Dan's currently sat P3 at the moment here in this session. He's currently 3 tenths of a second off of that original pole time being set by Mazda. He can't improve that time around. Gary now coming up towards the Parabolica. So
how
Gary
nice is it to see Gary out there just under half a second off the back of Mazda 2 weeks after a knee operation, when we thought his title was pretty much all gone and all hope was lost. It's nice to see him back out there and still, bad knee and all, fighting for this championship.
Yeah, he really has bounced back quickly, and it just goes to show it's quite akin to Nicky Lauda back in 1976, where he had his accident at the Nürburgring, and Gary's doing a Nicky Lauda in this situation, because, you know, he's had his knee operation, he was crippled, he was hurt, and, you know, he's come back, he's bounced back straight away. He wants to get back in the car and show what he could do as soon as possible. So massive hats off to this man, really, for getting himself in the condition where he's able to put that knee through absolute hell in order to try and preserve his championship fight. So,
well, there's
yeah,
his biggest fan
really
just
well
commenting
done.
in the chat. Come on, Gary, says Bethany Ann Duffin. So his biggest fans always here watching. And I tell you one thing, one man who's very lucky to be on the grid, you won't know this, Andy, but Peaceful Explosion's router today decided to give up on him. And he's been on the day he's been on the phone all day with Sky, and Sky can't get an engineer out until later this week. Oh, we've got someone back in. I think. Oh, we didn't have Emo Guy, and I didn't realise Emo Guy had gone. Emo Guy's just got back in the session. He'll be able to get a lap in. Yeah, Peaceful Explosion's router had gone all day. He was trying to find one. I think the outcome was his mum and dad normally watch the stream, and he was going to get them to bring the router around, and he was going to do a live garage tour. He was telling me, and a live drive, sit in the car and everything, and they could borrow their router. But it turns out they've come back from shopping, him and his partner, and the router is working again. He's been on the phone to Sky. Sky says we can't even connect to your router from here, so it's buggered. I'm gonna have to send an engineer out. So let's hope and touch the wood that his router stays on for the remainder of the night and can give him a chance, because he's in the title fight, and I'm sure he's not going to want to change this to his drop score if he scores no points, because his drop score at the minute is only 10, so he's not really gaining a lot of points. I'm sure he'll score more than 10 here tonight. So we all pray for you, Peaceful Explosion. None more probably than Jamie Brazier. And we all hope your internet does hold up.
Yeah, let's hope Peaceful Explosion has been to church this week, because if he, oh no, it looks like maybe he hasn't. Did you see that, Matt? Did you see what I just saw?
I did.
Oh,
a bit of lag coming through the Curb Grande.
Stop watching him, because we're putting pressure on him now.
Mazda's in the pits then with 4.5 minutes remaining in this session. Sooty Apex currently out on track, and he's kind of in no man's land. There's no one around him for a tow. I'm really surprised that the guys in teams have not gone with towing each other around here. Maybe sacrifice a lap for each other. Phil's only down in 13th after his lap so far. D Biggs has managed to get into P8. Little Leach is only down in 11th. Monkey Boy down in 12th. It's a very tight grid, this, to be fair. Only 2 seconds separate the top 12. So not a bad qualifying so far. Obviously Phil and Emo Guy needs to get a lap in, and Phil obviously needs to improve on his time. I think that was Phil crossing the line. Indeed he has, and he's gone 2.6. He's improved a lot, but he's only 2.6 now off the back of Mazda, who's just coming out the pit lane. You see there.
Oh, he goes straight on there, trying to avoid the...
Is he keeping out of people's way, I wonder, on those behind him on a fast lap?
Yeah, possibly. Obviously, it is easy to get into people's ways around Monza, because the track is, although it's not particularly narrow, it's very boxed in, coming into that. You're sort of thrown immediately into the, thrown in the deep end, so to speak. So it's quite difficult to make sure that you don't impede other drivers as you come into the end of that pit straight. But Mazda doing it very nicely there, staying out of the way and making sure that he doesn't get involved with anybody else.
He's wheeling his tyres up. Sooty Apex in the pits. He has improved. That gap's come down to 2.29 tenths of a second then. Unorthodox then still 3 tenths off the back. Gary Leach is about to finish his lap. 4 tenths off the pole time. He's going to cross the line now. And doesn't improve there at all. So no improvement from Mazda.
AH was one of the early pace setters here in this qualifying session. That time was good enough for P2 at the beginning, but obviously he's dropped down to P5. A lot of the guys getting laps in. Let's see if he can get his car absolutely maximised for this final part of the session now, as it gets to warm up a little bit. A bit of a slide there.
Oh, very
as he
twitchy.
came through the exit of Parabolica. But it looks like he's got it planted to
No, he's been in the
pits. Oh no, that's definitely going to put a nail in his session now.
Oh,
Keegs is hit the barriers.
Keegs is in the pits.
And he gets it straight out onto the track, making sure that he can get another lap in. 2 minutes 10 seconds on the clock.
Now I'm surprised Keegs is on the grid.
Time.
Sorry Andy, I'm surprised Keegs is on the grid. He was in A&E 2 nights ago. He's actually done the ligaments in his wrist. I think it's his right hand at school.
We've got SimPlay Motorsport casualty.
Oh, it's
here.
Casualty here.
It's absolutely unbelievable. Lots of these guys have been
Casualty on a Saturday, Holby City on a Tuesday, SimPlay Motorsport Pro Series on a Thursday. It's a 3-part series, this, folks. Tune in. Oh, we've lost another guy from the grid. Who've we lost this time round? I'm not quite sure. As that Peaceful? No, he's still sat in 7th. Can't figure figure out who we've lost. We've lost AH. AH has had internet problems all season, and we've lost AH from qualifying. Now, the bonus is we're on the online championship, so he can get back on and can get on the grid, even if it means he starts last. He can still get on the grid. There is no cut-off in the online championship. And we seen him going into the pits there off the end of Parabolica, but he was neither driving in the pit lane. His car just seemed to vanish. He was neither in the pit lane driving, or it came up saying pit next to his name. So I don't actually know where he'd gone, and he was obviously lagging out a bit, and maybe that is why. But AH has suffered with internet connections all season, so I wonder if that is a problem for him. So Apex then, can he find that 2/10 he needs to on Mazda? Not this time around, he can't. No, where's Unorthodox? He's just gone through Lesmo number 2, I do believe. Gary coming up to the Kerber Grande, I do believe. Yeah, D-Big's heading down to Lesmo 1 here. Emo Guy's still not set a time. Phil's still down in P12. Little Each down in P10, so still not qualifying for him. Peaceful 7th. D-Biggs is up to P5 after his connection problem, so...
D-Biggs is flying tonight in that Audi. Really is doing a good job at the moment. 148, so... I wonder if he might be able to get himself off onto the front 2 rows. You can see there we've got... Yuri's gone P8. Looks like we've got Kieran Argent up into 9th. Can he improve here? He's got a bit of slipstream as he comes up towards the in amongst it. On that particular lap. You see Phil improving. No, that's Little Leach improving to a P11, but still not good enough for him. Surprising to see Little Leach such a long way down the order. Really is.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh, no,
I think I've done that the opposite way around, G. Yep, I've done that the opposite. No, width 1920.
Oh, you want cinema mode, I think. I don't know.
G's just telling me to. Sorry about this, we are just playing with new systems on OBS. G's just told me to do the width 1920 and height to 720. I've done that, but it's not done it as we had.
Do you know what you had before?
I do, it's in my notepad, but where's my notepad? I couldn't tell you. It's about right, isn't it?
So Mazda's got the pole position here, guys, in this qualifying session. 0.4 of a second is gapped to Sati Apex. So in the end, Mazda taking a very convincing top spot here. 0.4 around Monza is nothing to be sniffed at. That is quite a significant margin indeed. There's not a whole lot of room for error around this track. Sati Apex P2, Unorthodox lining up behind him, just a 1/10 of a second off in 3rd. Gary in 4th. Great qualifying performance from him. D-Biggs with a fantastic showing here in this one in 5th place. Fury looks like he's done for the session there. In P6 he'll be starting, so he got another lap in right at the end there and moves himself just above Keeg. So the 2 youngest members on the grid are lining up next to each other, 6th and 7th. Well, not next to each other, but position, as in terms of position, next to each other. Beautiful Explosion will line up in 8th. He is on borrowed time with his internet, so let's just hope that it hangs in there for the duration of this event tonight. We've got Kieran Argent lining up in 9th. Looks like that's that for the qualifying session, guys. So it's going to be Mazda starting this one on pole, Sati Apex alongside him. We should have an absolutely fascinating race 1 coming up, and we are expecting rain for this one as well, like we had in the Prime Series yesterday. So this should be a very exciting event, and here we go. It looks like we have already got some spitting rain here at the start of this race.
I just want to say that's Mazda's 6th pole of the season, and he's done an absolute top job so far in the qualifying session. Can he though make it into another win? We'll have to wait and see.
I think Sati's going to give him everything he can for this one. We've got Gary sat in 4th. Gary, a bit of a rainmaster. We know he always likes these wet conditions, so I'm sure he'll be seeing this as an opportunity. D-Biggs doing a brilliant job in that Audi, getting it up into 5th place. Yeah. Fury right at the end of that session did get into 6th. It was didn't actually notice it at the time, but I noticed it afterwards. So he's doing a really good job. His teammate Emo Guy not having the best of qualifying sessions, down in 13th. Got Keeg sat 7th with Peaceful Explosion alongside him. Kieran Argent and Little Leach. Phil Monkey Boy, obviously Ian down in 13th place, and AH managed to rejoin us, but he loses his position, so his qualifying lap that he set all accounts for nothing. And G starting at the back of this one. G is actually a multiple world record holder here on Project Cars 2 in the V8 Supercars. He holds 32 world records, and I know he was going for the GT1 world record around this track actually here in Monza.
Oh.
But as far as I know, I don't think he's actually achieved it yet. He's not too far off though, so
It's good to see. Indeed, it's good to see we've got AH back at the end of the session there, so he's going to be competing for the race. This one, don't forget, there's only 15 on the grid. Dean Wysocki is banned for race 1 and will be back in for race 2. It's not like we're missing a driver, he's just banned from this race. And it's a shame really, because the Acura seems to thrive in wet weather. But here we go then. Everybody's readied up. Their setups, pit strategies, their downforce, pit strategies, tyre choice are all sorted. Who's going to get the best start, Sutty or Mazda? We're lights out and away we go here. And look at the start Sutty's got. He's already pulled alongside Mazda and in front of Mazda then. D-Biggs and Gary's got a good launch in P3 and 4. He's just gone backwards. Mazda's been passed by Gary now, and D-Biggs looks like he could be pressuring Mazda into turn 1. Gary and Sutty was also going down there. And that's Kieran Argent round.
Gets a whack in the back. Kieran Argent just ran into the back of Keegs, and Kieran Argent's got a massive amount of contact there. It looks like Phil's involved in that one, and Ian as well. There's a big incident in the first corner. G manages to get through that one up into 12th place. He's gained 3 positions off the start. As we see AH castle in the back of Monkey Boy coming up through Curva Grande, but Gary finds himself in the lead of the race.
How has Gary got that one? We didn't see
a bit of a ding-dong there between Sutty, Apex and Mazda, because Gary's got past all of them. I think 3-1 coming into the second chicane. What's going on here? Mazda there, trying to get pushed out. I think he's got
D-Biggs has done him. D-Biggs has done Sutty and Mazda. Great job into the second chicane as we come down towards Lesmo number 1. Unorthodox is now pressuring the back of Mazda. And the BMW seems to be struggling in the wet weather at the moment. It's really had a horrid start.
Monkey Boy's just made a move on G up the inside into Lesmo 1.
Has he made it, or is he defending it? Because G was behind him at AH. Oh, great move then from Monkey Boy. Phil not far from the back of these guys. Already, though, the timing screen can't be right there. Keegs is... No, I didn't think it was right. 59 seconds off the leaders.
Oh, we see D-Biggs lining up Sutty Apex, trying to make a move back with him. Sutty's got up into P2, back again.
Look at Mazda. Mazda's been taken by Unorthodox.
Is Unorthodox going to do it? It looks like he does, yeah. Brilliant move there from Dan. Tiptoeing around him in the wet conditions.
And look at Fury!
Trying to get involved in this one. Yeah, Fury right on the back of Mazda here as we come down the back straight for the first time. But Gary has already pulled out a 2-second lead at the front of the field. This is absolutely incredible stuff from Gary as we see D-Biggs having another look to the inside here of Sutty Apex. But he can't get that one done into Parabolica. And also trying to defend here. Mazda and Fury going side by side. Fury really trying to get this position done here on Mazda. He's going to try and get a good exit out of the last corner. And somebody's gone wide there. Peaceful explosion getting all sorts of out of shape onto the tarmac on the exit of Parabolica. We've got G here being with AH and Monkey Boy. Monkey Boy's managed to get ahead of AH there.
Yeah, so good drive. Mazda is really struggling though, Andy, in these conditions in the BMW. Fury side by side with Mazda as well in the background, and you can see he's up the inside of Mazda into the chicane. Can he make it stick on the brakes? No, I think he's decided to just back out. Mazda's got a horrible run though through the chicane and Fury on the exit. They're side by side and Fury's going to try and do it around the outside of the Curva Grande. In the chat, Gary's packed his bags and drove off, says Jamie Brazier. Fury's granddad really cheering Fury on. And I'm not sure. D-Biggs has spun! And Unorthodox is off, and how these guys have missed him, I do not know. But they've done so well. Mazda and Fury, they did so well to avoid D-Biggs, who was sideways on the road.
What managed to benefit from that is G. He's up into 8th place. You just saw him thread the needle there. I don't know how G managed to get through that. He had one car on his left-hand side. He had to just thread his way through those 2 guys who had got out of shape. He also looked like he had to move briefly on Keegs, but he had to back out. He was on the outside for the De La Rocha chicane. But G is on a mission here. He's up into 8th place from the back of the grid already. He's made some fantastic moves here at the start of this race. Monkey Boy trying to fend off Phil at the moment. Phil with not the greatest start of this race.
Oh, Phil's round! D-Biggs is off again, and Phil is round for a second time in this race. As is D-Biggs. It's gone horribly wrong for Phil. Is this his championship run slipping away from him? I'm not sure. But at the moment, Mazda's been so fortunate. Little Leach has got up ahead of Fury at the moment then. Emily Parking, go Gary. There's a new Gary fan, the sister-in-law and the wife cheering on Gary 131 then. The whole family may as well cheer Gary 131. He is a player.
He's a hit with the ladies, I tell you that, this guy.
One man who benefited, Andy, through D-Biggs and Unorthodox having a spin is Mazda. He's back up onto the podium, but Fury and Little each battling here. Surely could gain onto the back. That BMW looks terrible in the wet weather conditions. And that's Fury who's had a spin there. He's had a spin, and Peaceful and the only G are side by side, the 2 Mercedes-Benz, now running 5th and 6th. And I know G promised, G said last week that he's not going to race these guys hard. I don't think he has to at the moment. He's just gaining places hand over fist here, Andy.
He really is. G has got up in the 5th place. He started 15th on the grid. This is absolutely incredible stuff here from him. He's looking to the inside here, a peaceful explosion. Can he do it? Sorry, the outside, sorry, and he manages to do it brilliantly there. peaceful explosion, just had to get out of that one because he knew that he was going to be running into the back of G if he thought that any longer. Monkey Boy looks like he's got ahead of Keegs up into 7th place. So Keegs is dropping backwards here in this race now. He's down to 8th place. He's got AH Unorthodox, Fury and Kieran Argent in very close quarters here.
I'm telling you, Andy, the BMW is not enjoying these wet conditions. We've seen AH sort of make progress but then lose out. We're seeing Keegs drop down the order. Mazda struggled early on. He's got to find his feet for the second part of this race.
And also I'm taking a look to the inside of AH. He can't quite get that done. He was trying to distract in the mirrors there. Sorry, Matt.
No, you're right. I'm just saying that the BMWs just cannot, all three of them cannot get this to stick together at the moment. They are having a horrible race. Mazda's very fortunate to be P3 in my eyes at the moment. He would have been 5th had Unorthodox and Biggs not had a spin. But at the minute, I don't know. Gary's running away with this one, 2.3 up the road, and he's really putting his name back in the hat for this championship. A lot of the guys in the build-up this week have said, oh, we've got to wait for Gary, make sure Gary doesn't finish. But I tell you what, your worry's Mazda. Your worry isn't Gary. You want Gary to finish in front of Mazda to take points off of him in this championship.
Oh,
Gary lost out last week.
Looks like Fury's got the move here up the inside of AH. He's done it as well. Fury has made it, that move. He just out-dragged him coming down towards Ascari, and AH has now got Kieran Argent very much in his mirrors as well.
And this is what
just sat at the back of this battle.
This is what I'm saying, Andy. The BMW is just struggling in this wet conditions. Sutty is gaining hand over fist on Gary at the moment. Mazda's kind of within 5 seconds still between these guys. Can't really get anything done.
Keegs has lost it, coming out onto the back straight.
Yeah, and that's D Biggs as well.
Oh, D Biggs has lost it as well. What's going on here? Everyone's losing out of Ascari. Are there puddles forming on the exit, maybe?
Potentially. That's D Biggs' 3rd spin today. Emo guy down in 15th after an earlier spin. That's D Biggs' 3rd spin. He was running on the podium, but cannot get it done here so far. Sutty is clawing Gary in at the moment. Gary will be hoping that Little Leach can get on the back of Mazda, but it's Gary, Sutty, Mazda, Little Leach, G, Peaceful Explosion, Monkey Boy, Fury, Kieran Argent, AH, Unorthodox, Phil, Keegs, D Biggs and the Emo guy are all top 15 at the moment. Dean Wasaki's in the chat. I hope he's ready for race 2, because with the looks of this, he's got to have his hands full.
Oh, it looks like AH has gone up ahead of Kieran Argent. Kieran Argent getting a poor run out of the first chicane, sorry.
AH was already in front of Kieran. I think he's defending from Argent there, because Argent was behind coming out of Ascari last time around, if you remember. It was Fury who passed AH last lap at Ascari on AH, and now I think Kieran's trying to pass him.
Oh, you can look to the outside.
Oh, he's overshot it. He's overshot it. Oh, AH has a little bit there. And that could compromise AH's run to Unorthodox. Kieran has lost out to Unorthodox, and he's only just rejoined the track. But so far, Unorthodox, and he's got to make up for an earlier spin. And who's that? That's the only G! The multiple world record holder has had a bit of a spin there.
Oh, no.
And he's dropped all the way down to P11 then, so... Shocking start from... Oh, good start from G, but a bit of a mistake there has cost him another place. Mazda has dropped another 3-4 tenths off the back of Sutty and Gary. And this isn't what he wants. The one main championship rival he's got in Gary is leading this race. The second championship contender, Little Leach, currently sits P4, so that's not as much to worry about. Sutty's getting points.
We got Fury. Fury's come together there with Monkey Boy.
Oh dear.
No, Monkey Boy in the wall. Fury there just limping on the exit of Ascari chicane, and that's allowed AH, Unorthodox and Kieran Argent up a position respectively, up to the 6th, 7th and 8th places. Incredible stuff here in these opening few laps here at Monza. And we're seeing AH having to fend off Unorthodox now, with Kieran Argent very hot on his heels. Fury now pulling up onto this back of this little battle, and G in the background there trying to get back into this race after dropping back to 10.
I think Fury's got a problem with the suspension of that car. It just didn't look right coming around the parabolic. It looked like he wanted to just pull a little bit there. But either way, we'll see if he pits. Gary's gap now is down to 8 tenths of a second. Sutty is reeling him in. And are we going to see the Sutty safety this week, or the Sutty send it? He loves Monza. He did the hot lap on Monday night. If you didn't see that one, he did it in the Ferrari for us guys. Can we see what Sutty's made of in this one? Is Gary's knee going to hold out? Sutty just messed up. I believe that's the Della Rosa chicane. I think that's right.
That's it. And then we're coming into Lesmo 1 now, and it looks like Sutty's lost a bit of time to Gary on this lap so far. He's made a couple of mistakes there in that first sector, and Gary just keeping it together, getting good exits out of the corners. Obviously, traction is key around Monza because the straights are so long. You can maximise your potential at the end of the straight just by getting the perfect exit out of these slower chicanes. But Sutty there was closing the gap, but he's lost a bit of time here at the start of this lap. Currently was lapping in the 154s, but it's definitely not going to be a 154 this time around at this rate.
Indeed, it's not. Little Leach is 2 seconds off the back of Mazda, 2.8 off the back of Mazda. He's really going to want to get that gap down. You see Peaceful there in 5th. He's currently 3.5 off the back of Little Leach. So them two are going to really want to get him, try and jump Mazda or put Mazda under some pressure for the championship as well. G's just passed on Orthodubs, I noticed on my timing screen. On Orthodubs. He's got past AH somewhere then. Monkey Boy's under pressure from Phil here. Yeah, G and Unorthodox then have passed AH. Argent's down in P10. Who's that side by side? That's Phil. He's attacking Monkey Boy coming up to the Ascari chicane. And here he goes on the first part of Ascari. I think Monkey Boy's going to let him have that. There's no word fighting, but he's gone deep and Monkey Boy gets the place back. I didn't know if Phil was going to lose it on the curb, but he's done well to keep hold of it. Phil is struggling tonight in these conditions, Andy. Monkey Boy, I think he's doing all right, Monkey Boy, in the wet. He's had that one collision with Fury, but Monkey Boy so far having a decent race. The Acura looks good in the wet conditions, but for Phil there, he struggled massively then.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately. He just went a little bit deep into the corner, and that just allowed Monkey Boy to cut back underneath him and cruise out of the Ascari chicane. We're currently watching AH at the moment. He's in a bit of clear air. He's got an orthodox couple of seconds up the road from him. Fury looks like he might be closing the gap a little bit now on AH. Currently within a second. Well, it says on the timing screen it's within a second, but I don't think it's quite that close just at the moment. Meantime, it looks like Gary is, well, he hasn't responded to Sutty. Gary is doing the same lap times as before, but Sutty had a scruffy lap last time around. It looks like Sutty's sort of started to put it together though, they're having said that, the gap 2.5 seconds.
That's all it takes though, Andy, is to just be consistent each lap, and Gary's doing just that at the moment. Let Sutty make the mistakes. If he's got a push to catch you, let him make the mistakes, and that's currently what Gary is doing. Sutty said earlier he doesn't think he's going to get a top 5 in race 1. Well, he must be over the moon. The fact is that he's 24 seconds ahead of dropping out of the top 5. Must be absolutely over the moon with that one so far. 2.8 off the back of Gary.
So far.
It really is, yeah. D Biggs is into the pits then. So just marking that one down on my little notes to know that D Biggs has pitted, so we can keep you up to date with who has and hasn't pitted. The BMW's
all over the back of AH now.
Yeah, I was just about to say the BMW still looks like it's a bit. I mean, in the hands of AH, Keegs is down in 13th. Mazda's doing a good job in that BMW in 3rd, because I think this car is a handful in the wet weather conditions. It looks just. It looks too much for them.
Summer side Phil up the inside here. Can he get a stick this time around, or is it going to be a repeat of last time? It looks like
he's done it. Who's that span? Oh, Phil's just binned it. Phil's just binned it. Monkey Boy's off as well.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and they collect each other.
Oh no. There's going to be damage on the front of that Lamborghini, and I think there might also, as we'll see there, that's Keys making his way up into 11th place, but these guys are going to be in all sorts of trouble now. Are they going to have to bring it into the pits for repairs? You'd think they'd want to get that done straight away, because that could be a mess on the front of those cars now. It
really could. You see the fog has started to fall now here at Monza. Fury still hassling the back of that BMW. Very twitchy on the wheel. That wheel, to me, I think he's having to twitch that because he may have a bit of suspension damage. Do you think that's pulling a bit? Having to twitch it to the right quite a lot. Pulling left slightly, I reckon. He's doing a good job though. His Fury, he's got good pace. He's keeping that gap to AH in front of him relatively close. Sutty's dropped back even further, so an even worse lap. Little Leach as well has dropped off the back of Mazda. Mazda lapping the same as the leaders. Oh, and AH has had a spin, and I think Fury caught the puddle and AH caught. They've both had a spin. I'm just watching back on the stream, which is obviously a bit behind the live broadcast. Just give me 2 seconds. They're coming up to the Curva Grande, and AH touches the puddle, and Fury hits the exact same puddle, and then they make contact. So they both hit the puddle at the Curva Grande, and then they hit each other. And I tell you what, that is shocking. Jamie Brazier, I'm considering the BMW for next season, depending on the weather for the races. Next season, you guys ain't going to know the weather for the races. You're going to find out on the day what the weather is. Dean says he'll be lucky to finish the race. Dean, mate, slow and steady could win this race at the moment. Just put in clean, good lap times, and you can get a good points haul here in race 2. The wet weather in the Acura looks good. You've got to keep yourselves out of trouble. Don't forget, for these guys who are listening, if you want anything reported, get it sent into the SimPlay Motorsport Facebook group. Message it me. I know some guys I'll speak to on Discord. If you can message me at Discord, I can forward it to the admin and the stewards to have a look at. So don't be worried about that one. I know AH talks through Instagram, so get that done. Who's that off? That's D Biggs off again, and is a lap down here. He's the only one to have pitted so far that I've seen. Is a lap down at the moment.
So unfortunate for D Biggs. He had such a good qualifying session, but it's all gone to pot here in this race one. As we see here, looks like Fury's looking to the outside of Kieran Argent, coming out towards Parabolica. Is he going to have that one, or is Kieran Argent going to try and outbrake him coming into the corner? It looks like Fury's got that done. He sweeps round and up into ninth place.
Good move. And it just looks like he's trying to cut Kieran off there. He's gave Kieran plenty of room. There was a car's width there. There was plenty of room there for Kieran to make the move. There was, you know, to keep the car on the road. I think Kieran may have just took to the grass a little bit in a bit, you know, when you're sort of in the car, you have that bit of moment of panic as you see one just closing the door. I think it was a bit of that. There was still a car's width there. Yeah. The fog looks like it's starting to lift, and the rain looks like it's stopped.
Oh, he squeezes him out a little bit. And Kieran Argent is up into the position once again. Fantastic racing from Kieran Argent. He's not giving that one up, but he backs out of it a little bit. I don't know if he got a penalty maybe for overstepping the track limits, because he definitely completed the move off the track there. He's relinquished the position back to Fury once again though.
And that's good driving from Kieran, good awareness, because these guys don't run with the track limits, so it won't give them the track limit penalty. So it is down to them to do it. If they don't do it, they can get reported and get penalised in the steward's office. And look at Fury and Kieran deep there. Well. They've got Biggs a lap down behind him, who looks quite quick at the moment. But Biggs needs to sort of back off and keep out of this one, because this is fourth position. Biggs obviously a lap down here. Sutty now 4 seconds off the back of Gary, and the sun looks like it's starting to come out here at Monza then. So is the track going to dry? Lap 8 it is at the moment. Still a bit of mist around, but it does look like the sun is trying to break through. It has definitely brightened up, and Kieran lost it at Lesmo too, and he's managed to hold that brilliantly from going in the wall. Phil is now gaining on the back. This for P10 if Phil can get it done. Monkey Boy currently down in 12th, Emo Guy 13th, Keeks 14th, and D-Biggs 15th and last. But Mazda looks like he's slowly gaining on Sutty Apex here. He's dropped Little Each a bit and he's slowly gaining on Sutty Apex. That is not what Sutty wanted in this race. He wanted to be on the back of Gary, not have Mazda on the back of him.
Oh, somebody's lost it. Fury's lost it. He's got again. He keeps doing it through there, and it looks like he also got caught up with Monkey Boy. Is that?
No, that's D-Biggs, I think.
Oh no,
dear.
D-Biggs catch Fury. I don't know.
Oh, I hope not. No, I hope not as well. That'd be all he'd need, to be fair, for Backmarker's got involved. We did just say about D-Biggs sort of backing off a little bit. If that is the case, how unfortunate. Who's that off? Oh, Kieran's had a moment at the Parabolica. The wet weather, Andy, is catching so many people out here.
It is. The puddles are starting to form, and it's torrential rain we saw in the first part of this race. It's eased off now. In fact, I think it's actually stopped, but we've still got the standing water, and it's going to take a little while for this to clear. Some of these guys might think that they can push it a little bit harder than they can, but it's still very much full wet conditions at the moment. So Fury once again caught out by that, but it looks like Phil and Monkey Boy might have had a moment, because Fury's back up into ninth here.
Phil's had a great start, a great sort of recovery drive at the moment, up to ninth. It was ahead of Monkey Boy. Kieran's obviously had the spin at Parabolica, which has allowed Kieran to drop down a few places, even behind Monkey Boy. Kieran now looking on the back. Phil's trying to get past Fury. There is Emo Guy. Not seeing much of him tonight. Disconnected in qualifying and got him back in, and he's had a terrible start to this race. Gary's in the pits though. Gary, the first of the leaders, pitting.
And outside of Monkey Boy coming into the De La Roja chicane. He's made that one stick there, Kieran Argent. Oh, he goes a little bit clouts the curb, and that's allowed Monkey Boy back up into 11th place there.
Did you see him bounce off the curb? Like he was a kangaroo. Oh, Sutty's got Phil's got the move done on Fury then, 4P9, so Phil has that move done in the Lamborghini and is away. Gary has pitted here in the Porsche at the moment. Lap 9, Gary is pitted, D-Biggs is pitted. I don't remember seeing anybody else in the pits. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. But at the moment, Gary, the first of the leaders to pull the trigger. G has just gone past him for P5 at the moment.
Like Gary's changing tyres there, Matt.
He can't be. Unless it's for a fresh set of wets. He can't be putting dry tyres on.
Could be for a fresh set of wets, but he seems to be in a pit box for more than 5 seconds there.
And he wouldn't have had any damage. He's had quite a clean race out front on his own, hasn't he? Unless we've missed him clipping the wall.
No, he's had a pretty trouble-free race, and the fact that the lap times that he was doing suggests that he definitely didn't have damage on the car. So maybe just going for a fresh set of boots, trying to secure the win. Obviously, he'd lose about 10 seconds by changing his tyres, but if he can gain maybe a second a lap on fresh tyres, then it will be worth it for him. Question is now, can Sutty Apex, really get his foot down here in these next 6.5 laps and try and get the overcut on Gary? I don't know whether he's got the pace underneath him as the track dries out. Maybe it might start to play into the hands of this man just a little bit more in that Lamborghini.
Phil's in the pits as well. I'll tell you one man who it will play out to if the track does start to dry out is that man who's just coming to shot in the background. Oh, Phil's got no rear wing, so he's been in the wars again here. One man that he might play out for is Mazda in P2, 5 seconds off the pace, but that could play out for him if the track's drying enough. There is Little Leach and Peaceful Explosion down the straight. Sooty best not be thinking of pitting this lap because Phil's going to be in the pits a while.
Yeah, I think he is. As we can see there, it looks like we got Peaceful Explosion just coming into Parabolica. Just a couple of seconds behind Little Leach on the track. It looks like he's very much keeping him honest at the moment. Could be, well, it's not going to be for a podium, I don't think, because obviously Gary's been into the pits already. But this is probably for 4th and 5th once all is said and done. But see Peaceful Explosion there just jumping across the screen.
Oh, let's hope it's not the router playing up for him. Jamie's Braziers just said, I think he's had a pit problem, so I wonder if he has had a pit stop error. And Emily Parkin saying that Gary's doing well in the wet. Alright, you only started following Gary at Monaco on Tuesday night at Motive Racing, Emily.
Gary once again proving that he is a true ladies' man. He's incredibly popular with the females. He always has been, I think.
Rob, if you're watching and you can hear me, get control of your woman. She's I've had to reel Beth in a bit with Gary, so you might need to do the same with Emily. Rob, if you can hear me, just take my advice, pal. Although, if I know Rob like I know him, he'll probably say that he can have her. So, Gary, though, sits P5 at the moment, has got past. Who is he past? We've lost once. We've lost someone. We've lost Peaceful. No. We've lost Peaceful. And he's not done 12 laps, so he will not score points. Did he lag out? I don't know. Has he just retired? I'm not sure. But we've lost Peaceful Explosion. He said he was jumping across the screen. That is not what we want here. So Gary at the moment up into P5.
We could have seen that one coming because he was really obviously struggling with connection issues. We could just see his car was jumping in and out. But Kieran Argent bringing it into the box to make his mandatory pit stop from P10. That is a really unfortunate for Peaceful Explosion. Maybe his router has finally given
he's
up
just
the ghost.
commented saying lagged. Just commented saying lagged, so Peaceful Explosion, how unfortunate for him. He will be, however, though, be able to qualify for race 2, and if he can get him in and he can manage to get the race, all he needed was one more lap as well to complete the 75% distance. So that is absolutely unfortunate. Sooty Apex has gone into the pit lane, so Mazda takes the race lead, so has Little Leach. He's jumped in the pits as well. So Mazda takes the race lead at the moment. And when is he thinking of pitting? Little Leach and Sooty Apex in the pits. DJ Phil, evening to you, DJ Phil. Nice to see you here. A double race winner last night. Absolutely fantastic drive from DJ Phil. Only G's coming into the pits. He's just been disqualified.
Oh my God.
I think G's just sped in the pits and been disqualified. How many times can you say he's been disqualified for speeding in the pit lane? I do not. Oh, has he?
He's done this before.
That's brilliant. Sooty Apex still in the pits as Motive Racing's commented. I think that might be, is that G commenting on Motive Racing channel? Oops.
G, yeah. I think G has done this at Monza before. He always misses the pit lane entry.
Oh,
this is becoming a bit of a tradition there for him.
Andy, Gary has jumped Sooty and Little Leach has jumped Sooty. Little Leach and Sooty pitted on the same lap. I wonder if Sooty's had a really bad pit stop then, because he's dropped it.
Could this play Mazda up into P2 and potentially bring... I don't know what's going to happen here. This is quite a development though. Track's definitely drying out also, so do any of these guys who are still on the wets maybe take a gamble at this point and change onto the dry tyres? I'm sure Unorthodox coming into the pits may have considered this because you can see the track pretty much bone dry out there, Matt. So is Dan going to try and change to the dries? Obviously the track's pretty rubbered in now.
Indeed it is. Monkey Boy's coming into the pits. Emo Guy as well is coming into the pits. So a lot of guys getting their stops out the way now and have waited for this to start to dry up. One man who hasn't is Mazda. We've not had AH in yet neither. I haven't seen Fury in. We also haven't had Keegs in as well. So Keegs and Mazda really could do with sorting their pit strategy out, because one of them's got to pit before the other. What evening to Welsh. Mazda's about to lap on Orthodubs here, who is down in P8. So Mazda has lapped P8 but hasn't pitted yet in this race. Now if it's drying, this will come to the BMWs and they'll start to feel a bit better for performance at the end of this one. Mazda's about to lap his teammates now. When does his teammate pit? Because they cannot share a pit box, don't forget, Andy. So when does Mazda pit compared to Keegs? That is the question.
Absolutely, that is the question. And at the moment it looks like Mazda's surely going to have the first pick because he's sat in the lead of the race, currently battling over what's probably going to be a net podium spot, possibly second place. With in fact, I think Mazda's going to come out in a comfortable second place as it stands. So surely.
Well, Sutty had the problem in the pits, didn't he? And I think that's Mazda that's has done a trick there with Sutty having a bad pit stop. Mazda's gone long and has seemingly got the advantage here. But you're right. Surely you'd give Mazda the preference of the pit stop in this one. He's got to pit a latest to lap 15, so he's got the end of this lap and then the next two. Oh,
Matt, we're seeing a bit of fighting here over Gary in the YouTube comments section. It appears there's a bit of jealousy going on between.
Yeah, indeed, a bit of jealousy. Bethany saying, Emily, I'm his biggest fan. The gloves are off then. Round one, ladies.
Yeah, cat fight going.
Yeah.
In the,
ding, ding, ding.
Comments. Sorry.
Absolutely good stuff. Gary, I can't believe you've got such a fan base and it's all women. What a player.
A lucky man,
what a legend. What a legend. What a legend. What a lad. Mazda and Keegs then on track. Keegs is darting into the pit lane, and that is Furian as well. So Keegs having the treatment over Mazda then. So Mazda going longer here because Keegs has pitted. So where is Gary? 29 seconds behind. Little Leach is just coming up to Ascari chicane. Sutty is well behind Little Leach. He's really been dropped by him here. Really has been dropped by Little Leach here. And it must have had a bad pit stop. Something must have not gone right for him in the pits because it's really affected him in this race so far. And he's wide at the exit of Ascari chicane. Emo Guy has passed Keegs and Fury. Argent has passed Fury and Keegs. That's 7th and 8th for them too. Phil has also passed Fury and Keegs as Keegs has come on our pit exit. So Keegs down to P10, Fury down to P11. They've got Monkey Boy, I'm sure, not too far behind them. Oh, actually, I say that. Monkey Boy's about a minute behind them. So not quite sure there. But Mazda, track is dry and this will be burning up his wet tyres here, Andy, like a treat. 4 seconds slower than Gary last time around as well. So Gary's pulled back 4 seconds. Little Leach as well pulled back 3 seconds. Sutty pulled back 5 seconds on the last lap into the 149s. So I tell you what, with Mazda going long here, is this going to affect him?
It surely will, because he's only going to be losing time at this point. I think it's a no-brainer to come into change to the 6, because he's got to pit anyway, so it makes no difference. As to he's not going to be able to try and stay out to the end. He's going to have to come in to make that mandatory pit stop. So I don't know what he's going to try and gain with this one.
Yeah, AH is now in the pits. He's really going to be hurting his wet tyres. You see no spray there. Peaceful explosion. How unfortunate for Peaceful. I have seen that.
He's pulling away. That's just pulling away.
Mazda.
Here.
Oh, I wonder if you just made a mistake last lap then. Very interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on the lap times. Look at where he's having to pull to cool his tyre down. That is extraordinary. The fact having to pull there to cool his tyre down. AH has now been lapped in the pits. Peaceful Explosion said his connection lagged and it kicked him from the race, but he was still connected to the party chat on the PlayStation. So it's kicked him from the game, but it's not kicked him from the whole party chat. So, oh, what a shame for him. I'm sure he'd rather have got disconnected from the chat than the game itself. Gary 131. What was his time this time around? Oh, 3 seconds. 3 seconds. He's gained 3 seconds that lap.
He's flying at this point, so Mazda's definitely going to lose the lead.
Sutty's past Little Leach.
Oh, yeah, we see there.
I think Little Leach has had a mistake because he looked slow coming into the entrance of Parabolica there when we changed. I think Little Leach has made a mistake there then. Emo Guy is in the pits again, not quite sure what that one's for. Fury then will overtake him for P10. Mazda, though, has got to get a move on, because if he has a problem in the pit lane, I mean, even if he doesn't change tyres, I think he may have Sutty covered depending on where he comes out. I think he's lost the race to Gary though.
Yeah, he's surely going to lose that position to Gary, but I think as long as he doesn't change his tyres, if he tries, he can limp round on those wet tyres and stay ahead of Sutty. I reckon the pit stop around Monza is about 28 to 30 seconds, so as long as he comes out with around a 10-second buffer to Sutty, he should be able to limp round, bring it home in P2. He'd be better off staying on those wets and trying to track them round for one more lap than changing tyres to the dry. The dry tyre change will cost him 15 seconds minimum, whereas if he stays on the wets, he can try and limp round, probably lose about 6 or 7 seconds. overall it's going to be a quicker race time if he can actually stay on those wets and just be in and out of this pit box. But let's see what he does here.
So this is the moment to wait and see what Mazda could do. Lap 15 of 16 in this one, so he will cross the line, start the final lap of the race in the pit lane, and he pulls into his pit box now, but Gary's time is already coming down. When does Mazda leave the pits? Gary is coming round the Parabolica, was that, I do believe. Mazda's away. I don't think they've changed his tyres. He's going to lose out to Gary for sure. Where is Sooty Apex going to be by the time Mazda comes out the pits? That's the interesting one for me. Mazda's gone full DeLorean mode here. And Sooty, I tell you what, Sooty's behind Keegs. We could see some team tactics coming to play. Mazda is away now, and look at Keegs. Doesn't seem the quickest round the Parabolica. And is he just holding Sooty Apex up? He's let him go now. But is that BMW going to have enough pull here? I think Mazda's going to be able to hang on to second place. So Mazda's jumped Sooty.
Yeah, I think he's just going to be able to cruise around for this final lap. He's got enough of a buffer back to Sooty Apex. So Mazda really getting the strategy right here. His gap to Gary earlier in the race was around 10 seconds, so can't take it away from Mazda. What a good job he's done here in this one. And he's just behind
Phil.
I think that's Phil there. So Phil, after this promising start to this race, really has gone all horribly wrong for him. He's now in 7th place, but still some good points here in those championship standings. But it's very much been about this man here, Gary. Started in 4th place here in this race. He made an absolute flyer of a start to the race. Got himself into P1 after the first corner, and he's not looked back since. It's going to be his first race back on the wheel, on the pedals, since his knee operation a couple of weeks ago, and he's back with a bang. I tell you what, I'm sure he's going to be very happy that he made this decision to jump in at the deep end and try and go back to his wheel and pedals once again.
Indeed he is. The gap between Sooty and Mazda is not really coming down. I think Sooty's had a mistake somewhere, possibly pushing too hard, but look at the gap between Mazda and Gary. Oh, is that Mazda having a bit of a wiggle on the exit of Ascari there? Potentially was, as he's trying to lap Phil. He's still not managed to lap Phil. Is Phil just trying his damnedest to hold him up a bit here? The gap's 10 seconds. He's not going to hold him up enough there. Sooty on the exit of Ascari could get interested towards the end of the race, but Gary's already flashing his lights. He knows he's done well here. The man with only one leg at the moment wins here at Monza for round 15 of the season, and he's back on form in this championship. It is not done by any stretch of the imagination. Mazda has made his tyres go 16 laps. Brilliant pit stop compared to Sooty's, and he looks like he's going to come home to take P2. Indeed he has. A bit of a photo finish there with AH. Sooty Apex in the background. He's going to come across to take 3rd place. Good race for him. I'm sure he'd have wanted more. Little Each will take a P4 then. Unorthodox in 5th place. Had a bit of a quiet one since his spin, but a 5th place nonetheless for him. Yeah.
Huge gap between.
Where's he? He's at the Lesmo. Wow, he's only at the first Lesmo.
It's incredible the margin between those guys. I think Unorthodox is the last guy on a deep lap as well.
Yeah, he is.
He'll be waiting a little while.
So Phil has been lapped and finished P6. AH has finished P7, a lap down. Kieran Argent has finished P8, a lap down. A lot of people a lap down here. This is quite incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's surprising to see Dan such a long way behind. We know he's got some skills to pay the bills in these GT3s. He won the race at Bruno a couple of 3 weeks ago now, before the 1 week break. So he made a flying start to his GT3 career in the Pro Series here at SimPlay Motorsport. But this race one tonight here at Monza, excuse me, has not really gone to plan for him. Flash the lights there. He knows we're watching him on the stream. I've got the hiccups.
Kieran in the chat says, sorry about that one, turn one, backhand's come around on me when I hit the brakes. Well done, Gary. A few well done Garys in the chat. Phil says good win, Gary. Big damage for a Dan dive. Well, Unorthodox crosses line and finishes in P5. We'll see who's got the fastest lap of the race. Phil did get 6th, AH 7th, Kieran Argent 8th, Keegs 9th, Fury 10th, Emo Guy 11th, T-Biggs 12th, and Monkey Boy 13th. Is that everybody done? Are we still waiting on somebody? I can't think who we're waiting on. There's Argent, Keegs, Fury, Emo. Oh, D-Biggs. D-Biggs hasn't yet crossed the line. And there he goes. He crosses the line now. And has finished that one. And fastest lap of the race goes to, I think it's Sooty Apex. Yeah, 49.2. So Sooty Apex takes the fastest lap of this one. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back shortly after the quick mid-break interval.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 take it down.
turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up, I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me
I wouldn't just do an interview with you as well.
This is what annoys me. I always end up fifth and I can't.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. We've got only 2 of the top 5 in the party with us, so we're going to have a quick interview with Unorthodox, who finished P5. Dan, an up and down race for yourself, struggled in the wet conditions and a few incidents, but 5th place, good points for yourself though.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, the start was just horrendous. I had no grip, and when I got caught up with D-Bigs at the start as well, I had damage as well from then. So I couldn't actually make any ground due to damage.
Ah, shame. You seem to have pace every now and again, but like you say, was the damage the only thing that was affecting you?
Yeah, pretty much. And also I was just waiting for that perfect time to go onto the slicks, and every time I was waiting I ended up in more incidents, so it never really panned out my way. But hey, I always end up in 5th, and now I can't qualify, which sucks, and that happens every time.
What's your thoughts going into race 2? Obviously the weather's kind of flipped for race 2. You can't qualify by the back of the grid. In fact, you're on the back of the grid. Just looking to make as much progression as possible?
Well, I'm going to let the boys of Sati and G and Mazda push their way through, and whoever they get past, I'm going to try and stay right behind them and sneak my way past. But it's going to be more of survival the first few laps for me.
Well, what you've managed to do is you're out of the running for the title now, which I'm surprised. I don't think you're surprised at all. Obviously, coming into it quite late, but you've put yourself only 3 points behind Monkey Boy, and a chance to move up another position in the leaderboard tonight. Getting well clear of that bottom 3 in the drop zone at the moment. So you must be happy with your performance since you've started at Spa.
Yeah, like every race, I seem to be getting better and better and improving each race and getting the hang of this league. And the main goal was to keep away from the bottom 3 and to stay in Pro. I'm really enjoying racing in Pro.
Yeah.
I do not want to go down into Pro-Am. So if I can keep getting further and further away from the bottom 3, that's the goal. So Monkey Boy's the next target, so let's see if I can catch him.
Well, best luck for race 2, mate. We wish you all the best. We're joined as well by Sooty Apex. Sooty, you took a P3 in that one. What was P2 for so long didn't turn out that way. Mazda managed to pip you at the end, but it's a podium nonetheless. It's in your fastest lap as well, so an extra point. It's actually your 4th fastest lap and your 4th, 2nd or 3rd place this season, so consistent at the minute, mate.
Yeah, I'm happy with it in the end. I had a stupid spin, which was my own error, which then let Mazda through, and I pitted for the softs and I lost the wheel nut again, but we won't go into our pit crew. But other than that, yeah, I'm happy. Yeah,
you've managed to keep 2nd in the Constructors' Championship as well, with Phil not having the strongest of races. You are 37 points off the title though. Are you still gunning for the title, or are you kind of just playing it race by race?
Oh, of course, I'll still be gunning for it until I mathematically can't achieve it. But yeah, like anything, I'll keep going, I'll keep plugging away, and hopefully one of them might make a mistake.
Now, one thing me and Andy keep asking is we keep praying to see the Sooty send it, but all we're getting is Sooty sensible safety driving. When's the send it going to come back out, bud? I know you're capable of one. When are we going to re-see it?
Well, we might start seeing it when I can't get the championship. Then I might start. I seem to be consistent when I don't send them as much as I used to, but yeah, I don't get my elbows out maybe as much as I used to. But
what's your plans as well for race 2?
Race 2, just try and get up as cleanly as I can, see where I end up. I think you might see a couple of Sooty sends it, especially when it's dry, because I think that's I'm going to have to get past everyone, I think. So We'll just see what happens.
We'll let you get back to Phil, buddy. Best of luck, and best of luck in race 2.
Alright, cheers. Thanks, guys. Right.
So you will notice, Andy, on the grid, we have got a full 16 cars on the grid now. Dean Wysocki is back in with us, currently sat in the pit lane. I think we're going to hear from Little Leach in a moment. He's just outside having a quick break while he can't qualify, so I don't know if we'll hear from him. There is Dean Wysocki, Andy, and he was on the session watching race 1, so he'd have seen it with a keen eye. Oh god.
Oh
dear.
I've been disconnected.
Yeah, so have I.
Oh, this is a bit of a bummer.
Unusual.
Yes. Saturday Apex cannot perform voice communication.
Oh, that just means he's lagged out. Neither can an Orthodobs. Huh.
Right. Well, have you got an invite?
I'll be able to join in the lobby now. I wonder if there's lots of people got disconnected. No longer in party due to network error.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna turn on this car.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna turn on this car.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up
and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play it so slow. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up and then I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like.
Stand in the open, knowing it will all make sense. One day
dame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Convierta en rayos y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad y más
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Play a solo song.
Welcome back, then, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that. PSN network just decided to have a little glitch.
We've got a 9 hour qualifying session ahead of us.
Kieran has set the qualifying session to 9 hours. We'll be back after this short break. Please stay. These problems have been sorted.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down.
turn on the sky.
Couldn't break your heart. Is it really love? They can't tear you apart. Is it really love? They couldn't break your heart. Is it really love? They can't tear you apart. Is it really love? Play a song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like, give it to me like. Stand in the open, knowing it will all make sense.
Evening then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport for round 16, the second race tonight. We are down to 15 drives. I'm not quite sure who we've lost at the moment. I am just trying to look through and see who we have lost. It looks like it's Keegs we've not got in the session at the moment. But we are away, technical difficulties there, not on our end this time for a change, on the PSN end. Everything just seemed to go down a moment. Obviously the PS5 has been released today, so I'm wondering if they're the problems. But we are back live then. So the top 5 cannot qualify, and that is Gary, Mazda, Sutty, Apex. It's been so long since the first race, I can't remember. Who finished 4th was Little Leech
and
Unorthodox. They cannot qualify for this one. Then the only G cannot qualify neither. Hopefully we can get Keegs back in as he's gone again. But we have got 15 runners in this session so far, so let's see what happens then at the moment. Andy, then, who's your tip for
qualifying?
Yeah, the also G as well is not qualifying. Who's your tip for pole in this one, Andy?
For me, pole position for this race 2, I'm going to tip AH because he was very strong in the dry qualifying earlier on, which feels like it was days ago now, but it was he was really quick. If you remember in the race 1 qualifying session, he was up thereabouts. He was in the 48s, and like the guys who finished above him in that session. Obviously out of this one, sidelined due to the top 5 don't qualify rule. Definitely going to play him into contention, so my tip for pole position's got to be AH. What about you, Matt?
I think AH. D-Bigs look quite quick as well, but Peaceful Explosion's allowed to qualify in this one, so Peaceful Explosion I'm going to tip for pole. We've got Keegs back in, so Keegs is here.
Dan Davis in the comments saying, is it LMP2 yet?
LMP2 of course at Motive Racing on a Saturday night, where hopefully PlayStation Network will have sorted themselves out. James Brazy saying, I don't remember race 1, it was a few days ago. Now, it was a few days ago. We aren't going to get the guys who we didn't get in for the interviews earlier, we aren't going to get them back in for an interview now. We're going to leave it as it is at the moment. What we do have though is Dean Wasocki back on track with us. We was about to say this earlier before the connection just went. We have got Dean Wasocki back with us now, able to race this race too, so let's see what he can do.
Dean Wasocki's had to wait so long to get on the track. He was probably chomping at the bit to finally get his teeth into some action tonight, and he unfortunately has had to wait a little bit longer than he would have liked to. He's had to wait an extra half an hour, so he's really going to be, I'm sure, out there looking to prove a point.
Yeah, he's going to be raring to go, I reckon, for this one. And we're going to have to see who is going to get the pole position. Just a short 10-minute qualifying in the second race, and he's a bit wiggly coming through there. So we'll have to see what he can do in this one so far. 10 minutes to see who can get pole. Got 6.5 minutes left to see who can do what. Obviously no times in a minute. The only G will be the best of the non-qualifiers, and Orthodox will start 6th. There will be Little Each on the back row of the grid with Sutty, and then Gary and Master just in front of them two, and Orthodox and G then in front of them two. So that one is a given. But who will be the top 12, if you like? Obviously next season, a new rule for next season, in that no matter what size grid we've got, half the grid cannot qualify for race 2. So if it's a full 16, the top 8 cannot qualify. Makes it a bit more interesting in terms of a reverse grid. So yeah, that was the rules made in a admin decision at the minute. D-Biggs has so far gone quickest with a 49.6. What can AH do here?
Interesting little concept is you haven't gone for the novel concept of what we've done at Motive, I guess, which was reversing the championship standings and doing a formation lap, which is not an easy thing to implement. It has had its pitfalls, but weren't tempted by that one. Was that discussed at SimPlay at all, or is it not?
It was discussed, and we feel like we're going to go with this one for the next season. Maybe see if we can get more of a Pro-Am grid as well, and then enforce it in both maybe for next year, for the season 3, sorry.
In a way, what you've done here is actually better in a sense, because you're making sure that there's still a competitive nature to it. Obviously the guys who finish at the back have still got to do the job in that second qualifying session, but it also puts the front half of the field, you know, immediately on the back foot. But it could also mean that the guys who finished at the front in the first race might end up starting 9th or 10th instead of, you know, 14th or 15th. So
it could be an interesting one as well. AH, your man, currently on pole, 4/10 out of Kieran Argent, quite surprising qualifying at the minute. Peaceful Explosion, just a couple of thousandths behind his teammate. Phil sits 5th, Phil sits 4th, Monkey Boy 5th, Fury 6th. Fury, a bit more of a second race qualifier, as we saw last week. He got himself on the front row of the grid, last week, only by a few thousandths of a second lost out to Phil. So Fury's one to shout for in this race in the Nissan GTR.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he's currently 1.2 seconds off the pace at the moment. But we saw Fury at the end of the session in the initial qualifying session before race 1. We saw him actually getting it into the 1 minute 48. I think it was a high 1 minute 48. So he could maybe be a contender for front row, possibly even pole position. He can really get this one together.
Must be listening to us because the lights come on halfway down the straight. Phil's got a lovely tow in the background there on Peaceful Explosion. Ian currently sat in the pits. AH as well as in the pits. You don't really have time to pit, do you, Andy, in a 10-minute qualifying? It's either do or die. AH has gone quicker at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty much just put your fuel in for 5 laps and get out there as soon as you can. We see Fury crossing the line now. Let's see what he can do. He goes P2 with that one. Fantastic
good lap.
Time there. Yeah, really good. He always goes better in the second qualifying session, just after he's kind of warmed up a little bit. And Phil goes up into P2 there, putting up provisionally on the front row of the grid here. So very nice there from Phil. They would have had a bit of slipstream from Peaceful Explosion just up ahead of him as well. So that would have definitely benefited him when he came over the line to complete that lap. But AH and Phil currently the only guys in the 1 minute 47s. We saw in the original qualifying session a 47.4, I think, was pole position.
I think so, something like that, yeah.
So these guys a little way off, but obviously they didn't. These are not the top 5. The top 5 from the original qualifying session tonight not able to qualify, guys. So AH currently the top guy of all of those. AH was up there in that original qualifying session as well. I keep saying original qualifying session. I just can't think of a better word.
Now,
Peaceful Explosion getting wide there out of Esmo 1 though.
People who have got pole position that are able to qualify at the minute. Keegs has a pole to his name. Peaceful doesn't have a pole position to his name, although he's up there in the championship fight. Doesn't have a pole position to his name, just Peaceful Explosion. So can he get his first one here? Kieran Argent doesn't neither. Dean Wasocki has a pole position to his name. He's currently down in P8. AH has a pole position. He looks like he could add to that, as that is one of the Nissans round in the background there. That has got to be Fury then, because Emo guy's in the pits. Phil also has a pole position as well then to his name. Took his first one at Fuji last week. So a lot of guys on poles, a lot of guys not. So we'll see if there could be a new pole sitter or not tonight. I reckon AH looks good for it at the moment. Phil has had a slipstream for a bit of this lap. Is he going to improve though as he's about to come down and across the line? Monkey Boy and Dean sit 7th and 8th. Emo guy 9th. Keegs in 10th. With D-Biggs 4th, Argent 5th, Peaceful Explosion is 6th place, Fury sits 3rd, Phil crosses line, and no improvement that time round. Emo guy is coming out the pit lane, but I think it's too little too late for Ian.
Yeah, Ian's not going to get around in time. There's absolutely no way. With only 1 minute 30 left on the clock, the Flying Scotsman has left it a day late and $1 short. That's a real shame there for him.
He really has. He'll be better off just going into the pits, unless he's going to help his teammate with a slipstream, and I wonder if that's the tactic. Ian not able to get any quicker, but will he be able to help Fury with a slipstream? I wonder. At the minute though.
Oh, it's brilliant. Jamie Brady says in the comments, be my guest, and she says, how can you be his guest? You'd have no internet.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. Absolute top stuff here. One man I am keeping my eyes on is Peaceful Explosion from 6th place. It's not the pace we normally see from Peaceful behind his teammate especially, so can he use Phil's slipstream here? One lap might be lucky enough to get a second one, and we'll have to wait and see. That'll be tight though to the line for Peaceful, but he'll be in the slipstream so far. Can he improve his lap time as he comes into a scoring now?
Keep an eye on the split time seeing that as he comes on the exit. We'll get an idea of what his middle sector's like as he just gets through the car rotated very nicely there, coming through that middle part. I think it might have compromised him a little bit on the exit though, because it would have been almost on its axis a little bit, but coming up towards Parabolica now, he's definitely going to get the slipstream here off of Dean.
That's Monkey Boy, I believe. Blue wing mirrors, yeah, blue wing mirrors, Monkey Boy, yellow wing mirrors, Dean Wasocki. Argent's in the pits, so he's called it a day. Dean's just crossed the line, no improvement from him. Monkey Boy was going slow, so I don't think he's going to improve. Qualifying is complete, and Phil didn't get pole. Peaceful didn't improve on his last lap, so only P6 for him. Here comes Fury, no improvement for Fury. Then what is D-Biggs going to do here? Looking for his first pole position. Pretty much, I think either him and Keegs are pretty much the only two on track. Still on a flying lap. I think that might be Keegs behind him. Oh no, Keegs is in the pit, so I don't know who the car is behind it's Dean Wysocki. So Dean Wysocki's got one last chance as well. So watch for D Biggs and then Dean Wysocki. Can D Biggs claim his first pole of the year, or will Dean Wysocki? And as it stands at the moment, D Biggs currently the third from bottom person on track and is relegated. Dean fourth from bottom, even though he missed race 1, has only a slight margin, and he's gone off there. So Dean will not improve. Yeah, Lesmo 1 into the pits. He's gone. Is Fury still on that? No, he's slow there. No, Fury's done. So it is literally now just D Biggs that we are waiting on here.
Yeah, so
what can D Biggs
looks
do?
like he's currently 8/10 off at that pole time. You see him going a little bit deep into the second part of my score. He's 3/10 down on his personal best, so it's going to take an absolute hell of an effort from D Biggs.
Oh no, he's gone in the pits.
Out. No, he's out of it. So it's going to be that for the second qualifying session of the evening, guys. It is going to be AH starting this one on pole.
Yeah, takes his second pole position of the season. Can he convert here? He's got to be one of the favourites to convert from here, I'm sure. But at the moment, it's AH on pole from Phil and Fury, your top 3. The 2 Mercedes together, the 2 Acoras together. And look at the back of the grid. G gets 11th place, Unorthodox gets 12th, Master 13th, Gary 14th, Sutty 15th, and Little Leach 16th. This is cracking. We are now waiting, because of the PSN going down, Kieran Argent has set the lobby up. So we are waiting on Kieran to ready up, and here we go. So best luck to everybody. Clear start to this one, and rain forecast for later in this race. Who are you tipping in this race, Andy?
For me, the victory in this one, I'm going to go for AH. I think that this is the opportunity to finally shine, and the internet's been plaguing him a little bit over the course of this season, but he's got himself on the top spot. He's had the pace in the drive, but obviously we are expecting rain around halfway through this one, so that could definitely throw a spanner in the works. I'm going to go for AH for the win. I just think I have some confidence in him tonight. I really think he can deliver.
One thing that happened in race 1 was Gary gained 5 points over Mazda in the championship, but Sutty, Little Leach, Phil and Peaceful Explosion have dropped further back. Also,
I just put a few after I predicted for AH.
Also, Monkey Boy and Unorthodox can no longer win the title, and Flatline Motorsport cannot win the constructor standings, meaning that it's only Forever Forward, Iron Brew, Run Flat Racing, and Leach Motorsport that can win the constructors. AH, Keegs, Kieran Argent, Phil, Peaceful, Sutty, Little Leach, Gary and Mazda all slim for the drivers. I'm sure though it's getting down to the time where people are going to slowly drop off here. So what can we see from people in this second race? Phil could be a good shout. We saw Sutty start in race 1. Could Phil get it in race 2?
About to go lights out here at Monza for race 2 of the evening here, and looks like we've got AH there lining up on pole position. Phil alongside him. Who's going to be the best start off the line here? Lights are out and away we go, and it's a terrible start there from Phil. Gets very bogged down straight away off the line. He's got Fury and Kieran Argent attacking there here behind him. It looks like Argent got a slightly better start there than Fury. He's coming towards turn 1. It looks like there's an incident there. Somebody's gone off. There's a Mercedes in the wall. I think that's Peaceful. He's got pushed into the wall there as we come into turn 1 now, and you see there Phil holding on the inside. Looks like we got Fury trying to get around. He's got ahead of Kieran Argent there. Kieran Argent trying to fend off.
Phil's on AH.
So Ian's up ahead of DBX, and it looks like, yes, there's Phil and AH there.
Fury's also past AH. So AH must have had a terrible run out of the first chicane as they come into the Curb Grande. And AH, I wonder if he caught the gravel on the exit to the chicane, because he got a really good start. But Phil and Fury have now done him. AH looking up the inside of Fury into the Della Rosa chicane. And Fury actually attacking Phil more than defending from AH there, but couldn't get that job done. That's Monkey Boy and Keegs off in the background. How are the championship leaders sort of doing? Master 14th, Sutty 15th, Peaceful has dropped to 16th for that, so he must have some bad damage.
Gary's made up 2 positions there on the exit between Della Rosa and Desmo 1, and he's up into 9th place. Brilliant stuff there from Gary. He can now pull us onto the back of the only G as we see Little Leach there. It's just ahead of Keegs. It looks like Gary's got ahead of D-Biggs. D-Biggs has gone off. D-Biggs has dropped back. What's happened to him? He's off on the exit of Lesmo 2. He's way down the field. This race has gone an absolute disastrous start here for D-Biggs. He's down to last place here at the start, and we watch here now G all over the back of Dean Wysocki and Eamon. But it looks like Dean Wysocki's made a fantastic start to this race.
Yeah, he's made a great move.
He's really out there with the points to prove after serving a race ban in the sprint race or the race 1 earlier on. And he's already up into 5th place here.
That's Monkey Boy, his teammate, round in the background, but Dean Wysocki has gained a couple of places off the start and made a brilliant move on Emo Guy into the Ascari chicane. He's now having to defend from the only G and Emo Guy. G's just going to sail around the outside line. That is how good G is at the moment, but Dean having a cracking start to this race. Dean, though, he's still going to have the inside. I just feel he's going to struggle on this bit. He needs a slipstream, and he's not going to get it. Fury was all up the inside in the pit wall. G needs to stay in the slipstream of somebody if he's going to have a chance of a good run down towards turn 1. AH needs this race from Fury, from Phil, so we've not sure what's happened there. Is Phil going to look into turn 1? Is the Emo guy going to look on Dean into turn 1? I believe he has, and I believe Gary's also done Dean at turn 1. And Emo guy just taps her ear at G, and Gary as well has passed Dean Wasaki. So Dean, struggling in the Acura on the straight, has lost 3 places in one straight there. Can he make it up in this section now where the corners will start flowing? And also with the wet weather coming soon, Monkey Boy is in the pit, so clearly damage for Monkey Boy.
Got ahead of Sutty as well there, coming out of the set of the first chicane there, so I don't know what happened to Sutty. Seems to get a little bit out of shape, but Maz dropped position. Looks like Keegs into 13th. Peaceful Explosion with not the greatest start to this race. He's down to 14th place already here in this one. D-Biggs, obviously we saw the spin out of Lesmo 2, dropped him back to the rear of the field. But AH is still leading this pack at the moment. Fury's right up his chuff. These two have broken away a little bit, and Ian's going to have to P3 here. So he's got ahead of Phil and Kieran Argent. Ian's doing a good job at the moment. He's got in a couple of positions. Goodness, there's a moment there.
Phil's had a moment. Phil's had a moment. He's dropped a few places there. And Keegs has been there on the exit of the second Lesmo. D-Biggs is hassling the back of what's happened to Mazda? That was Mazda only just flying past him. Sutty's up to 10th. Mazda, I think, has had a moment as well. So what has happened to Mazda and Unorthodox? Mazda looks like he's got damage on the front of that car, at least bodywork at the moment. Monkey Boy's got an engine failure in the pits to add to his woes tonight so far. Not what he'd have wanted, but with Phil dropping it, he was having a good scrap with AH and Fury. Phil now down to 9th. Dean up into 7th again, but he's going to struggle at his part of the track. You see Little Each all over the back of Dean there, and that could be for position. And that could be job done by the time they get to the first chicane.
Yeah, Gary's all over the back of G at the moment, trying to hassle and hound him and get up into that P5 position. You can see in the background also Phil trying to fend off Little Leach, and Dean Wasaki still.
No, Phil's just gained 2 places there. He was behind Little Leach and Dean Wasaki on the back straight and has gained the 2 places. So I wonder if Dean... I don't know. Well, Dean's obviously the slower car in the straight line, but look at the toe. He really needs that toe to take over. Mazda's in the pits.
Gary breezes past Phil into turn 1 there. You see he's up into 6th place. But, it looks like, yeah, he's managed to get that position done nicely. Dean Wasaki, though, he lost that position to Sutty there on the exit of turn 1. So Sutty Apex up into 9th place. You see that Lamborghini cruises past the Acura like it's not even there. And AH is still leading this race just about ahead of Fury, but Fury's still giving him a lot of pressure here, but can't quite find a way through around him at the moment. AH is doing a great job of defending this position. My prediction, currently holding off the man who I always curse when I predict, Fury. Fury's ground up was pretty happy that I didn't predict him to win this race, as you can see in the YouTube comment section.
What a race for the Nissan boys, 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Hats off to them two. Mazda is in the pits, and this is a long old pit stop for Mazda. He must have some damage to his car because he is struggling and is still in the pit lane.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there to Mazda, but he's obviously incurred some lengthy repairs on that BMW. He's way down now. He's going to be almost a lap down, I would imagine. But here is, you can see the leaders just coming up towards the Parabolica now. But AH leading this race. He's pulled out a bit of fury over the course of this lap, Matt. He's got 1.5 seconds at the moment. Ian's trying to hold off Kieran Argent. He's doing a good job of it at the moment. He's got about a second between himself and Kieran. G there in the background trying to get this move done on Kieran Argent as they come off into the Parabolica now. He's a little bit too far back to go for the move there, but G's going to try and get the better exit here out of the corner. He's not going to get the nicer run though, because Kieran Argent is going to take that easier line out of the corner, and also Kieran Argent has got the slipstream off of Ian. So at the moment it's side by side here down the pit straight. It's AMG versus AMG, and G looks like he's got that run. It looks like both of them have got a run on Ian. It looks like we can see inside here. G is making a move to the inside of the first chicane. He's going to be late on the brakes here. He's got that one done by the looks of it. G's up into position, but it looks like Ian's not going to this one up. Kieran Argent trying to fight back there, but it looks like G's managed to get in that one, and G is up 2 places in one corner. What fantastic driving from the only G there, and Kieran Argent trying to fight this one. He's pushing Ian a little bit wide there. Ian's still hanging around the outside of Curva Grande though. And Ian lost it! What's happened there to Ian? He just seemed to bin it on the... Oh my goodness me, he's into the wall there. So Ian, I don't know what happened there.
Got a big wiggle on Andy mid-corner. He just got a big wiggle and then just went off with, on our screens. Really big wiggle there. Kieran was giving him plenty of room on the outside. and that's allowed Gary up into P5 now. I was about to say that Gary's closing.
The inside of Dean Wasocki. D-Big's stuck the inside, is he? Oh, he's going to try and make that move. No, he's
Lesmo won. I think, Dean. Oh, Dean's binned it on the exit. I think Dean cut him off, and Dean took a bit too much corner speed into that one as he cut D-Biggs' nose off and took a bit too much corner speed there. Probably didn't get it slowed in as much as he'd have liked. But what this has done is allowed Gary up into P5, Sutty P6. I know they've still got to pit. Has Mazda gone wet tyre early, expecting the rain to come?
Surely not. It's nowhere near even close to that at the moment. And if you switch to the wet tyres at this stage in the race, then you're going to really struggle later on, because your tyres will be overheating so much that by the time the rain comes, they'll be shot anyway, so they won't work. So I'm sure that it's just damage repairs there in that case. But currently Sutty has got Little Leach really hassling him at the moment. Sutty had some good pace in the wet, in the dry. He doesn't seem to be quite as strong here at Monza tonight.
No, he doesn't.
We're currently seeing AH putting the gap out to Fury now, though, after Fury putting the pressure on for the first couple of laps.
Little Leach has just dived into the pit lane, so that's an interesting one. One man I'd have liked to have seen pull out, I think one man that would have wanted to have pulled out a bigger gap would have been AH, Andy. We know that caused a bit of a handful in the wet, and if it does get wet like the forecast is saying, AH could struggle later on in this race, so I'm sure he'd like a bigger gap. And the mist,
there we go.
That to me looks like the mist is starting to come down here, Andy.
It is. No raindrops just yet, but it's definitely going to be affecting the way that these guys are able to drive, because the moisture in the air will definitely be affecting the track conditions. We're seeing Ian currently hassling the back of Unorthodox, but he doesn't look like he's quite able to get round him at the moment. He might have a chance coming around Curva Grande and up towards the De La Rosa chicane. Is Unorthodox going to try and defend this one? No, he's not. He leaves the space on the inside. Ian's too far back to get that one done at the moment. Good driving from both of those guys. You see Phil Keegs and Dean Wasocki all coming in. Is it going to be wet tyres for these guys though, Matt? That's the question.
I tell you what, if it's wet tyres, these guys could have called the shout very quickly when they've seen Dean pick up the damage after the spin at Lesmo 1 with after trying to defend from D-Biggs last time around. So if they are putting the wet tyres on, that could be a cracking shout for them. Mazda has passed Keegs and Dean Wasocki down in 12th place, and he's struggling at the minute. He has Phil not far in front of him. Dean's away now. Has Dean jumped Keegs in the pits? I believe he has. So good pit stop from Dean's crew then. Mazda on the back of that Lamborghini, but with it getting wetter, is this where the BMW is going to start to struggle? Championship leader in all sorts of bother at the moment. AH now coming round. Surely he's got to dive in. You can start to see some spray forming on the back of that BMW, and yes, he's diving into the pits. We could see a lot of people pit here. Fury should come in as well. He is. G's following in third place. Kieran Argent, surely he's going to pit from P4. Yep. Gary as well is following too. I think we're going to see a lot of people pit here. The only person who can't pit at the moment is Little Leach, and that's Emo Guy. D-Biggs off, yeah, sorry. D-Biggs is off. Emo Guy and Little Leach will not be able to pit this lap. So Emo Guy should effectively take the lead of this race, although Emo Guy's got into the pit lane. He's going to end up doing a drive-through.
Oh my goodness, and we see D-Biggs there getting it out of shape coming into the pits. He's had to reverse a little bit down the track to come in. I don't know if that'll be a steward's inquiry. Probably not, because he wasn't really putting him anyone at harm. But,
true.
But yeah, that's going to be a disaster there for Ian. Is he going to drive straight through, or no? He didn't.
Well, Argent has jumped a lot of people in the pit lane. I don't know if they've changed his tyres.
Kieran Ian double stacking there. You're right. It does look like Kieran Argent has stayed on those slick tyres. We'll get an idea if he's struggling around on this outlap here.
I mean, if they have changed his tyres, then he's jumped 3 cars as he was P4 when he pitted. He has jumped a lot of cars if that is the case. Little Leach 6th, Gary in 5th. Has Little Leach pitted? Yeah, he pitted earlier on. Kieran...
No, he's on the 6th.
Yeah, he is. He was struggling into that corner. It's not wet yet. The rain has just started to fall now, so this is where Kieran struggles. Mazda didn't go onto a wet tyre, so Mazda back in the pit lane. What does Peaceful have to do as well? Does Peaceful have to pit again? No, he stayed out. So did Peaceful put the wets on, and did he look after them compared to Mazda putting the wet tyres on? If so, what a strategy from Peaceful Explosion that was, to try and get himself back in this championship hunt. His teammate leads the race, but we don't think that his teammate has got the wet tyre on here.
He definitely hasn't. You can see he's really struggling for grip. He's just hesitating to put the power down. He is really feathering that throttle. But you see him coming into Ascari now. He's just got to be. It's going to be like an ice rink coming through there on those slick tyres.
Just hear him on and off the throttle as he comes through it. Yeah.
That's it. And he's going to be really struggling. AH is already almost on the back of him now, and AH has already been into the pits to change onto the wet tyres.
Now this is interesting for me.
Close.
Yeah, this
the
is
top
interesting
three
for me.
were like
Will
3
the
seconds.
BMW be better race 2 in the wet than what it was race 1? Because race 1, it was horrible in the wet, and the car came back to the BMW drivers later on in the race, as we saw Mazda managed to hang on to a P2. So will AH be able to hang on to what will inevitably be P1 in this race? We haven't yet seen Kieran in the pit lane. He's in now. He's in now.
G coming in again? No, he's not.
No.
He was taking a tight line through that.
Yeah,
What's he doing?
I thought that earlier in the week when he was pitting. I was like, what are you pitting for? And it turns out it was just a tighter line in the race than making a pit stop. So AH leads from Fury. G then up into third. Gary gets P4 at the moment. Little Leach, I think, has to pit as well.
No, Fury's... What's happened? I just lost the camera angle for a moment there. Sorry, Matt. I do apologize.
No, you're alright.
Fury
Kieran's just commented on the stream saying it made him do a drive-through. Interesting.
That would have been maybe teammates.
No, I can't remember, to be fair, but he's lost a lot of time then a drive-through and then having to pit when he's wet. James Bracey says Little Leach has already pitted, so if he has already pitted to put the wets on, good move from Little Leach. Where's Dean? He pitted early for the wets, down in 15th and clearly struggling in that Acura. One man who is struggling in the car though is Mazda, P14 at the moment, and is losing out to his main championship rivals Sutty, Gary and Little Leach, P4, 5 and 6 at the moment, and that is not what Mazda needs.
Yeah, it's the last thing he wants. And it's about BMW who already struggles enough here in these wet conditions, but just to compound matters and make them even worse, he made that early pit stop having had that damage at the start of the race. So Mazda will be lucky to get a top 10 position here. He's currently absolutely nowhere in this race, and surely it's just going to be damage limitation for this man. His championship hopes are going to be pretty much thrown up in the air, and I imagine Gary will probably take the championship lead after this round.
Depending on the points difference between the two of them, but at the moment 14th to 4th. I'll double check that for you, just bear with me 2 seconds, Andy. So 14th place scores 2 points and Gary will gain 13, so the difference is 11 depending on fastest lap. So Gary will gain 11 points, which will put him, if he hasn't got the fastest lap and neither has Mazda, will put him 2 points behind Mazda going into Algarve next week.
So if Gary gains another place, or another couple of places.
Well, actually, to be fair, G doesn't score points, so everybody effectively move up one as a result of that. So actually, Gary is running in P3, and Mazda's effectively P13. So let me figure out that gap a second. So P13 is 3 and P3 is 15. So the gap's actually 12. So Gary would need fastest lap to be tied with Mazda after the drop score on points so far this season. So still all to play for and could make the championship even more exciting. It does, though, bring Little Leach Sutty back into it and maybe Phil.
Fury getting out of shape there, coming through the Delarosa chicane. And G's up the inside, up into P2. Sorry to cut you off there, Matt.
No, you're fine.
He was all over the back of him. He was really pressuring him, and G's managed to get up into the second place. So our reserve, multiple world record holder on Project Cars doing the V8 Supercars is up into second place.
This is one man.
Mistake from Fury was all he needed to get up into P2 there, though, Matt.
This is one man, Andy, that I'm really looking forward to seeing score championship points on the grid next season. He came into it last week. He's agreed not to qualify, not to race the championship leaders too hard, and he's agreed to, not score points. And I respect him for that. You know what I mean? As much as he could have scored points for himself and take points off the championship leaders, I respect his decision. But this man is one man I'm really looking forward to next season. We see him have good hard fights on track with everybody, and we see him this Tuesday night over at Motive Racing with Motory Morgan around Monaco in the Clios. With Monaco on the calendar next year and Bathurst and Long Beach, G is one man I'm really looking forward to watch next season. I really think the battles on track with him and AH, Mazda, Gary, Sutty, Little Leach, Peaceful and Phil, I think could be absolutely fantastic to watch all season long.
Absolutely, he's really taken to these GT3s very well. It was a category that I know he wasn't the most fond of before, but he's very much got over those little demons that he has in these cars.
The expression he's took these like a duck to water is very fitting, considering there's that many wet races here at SimPlay. He's taken them like a duck to water.
Don't we do dry races here apart from the last week at Fuji?
Yeah, apart from the last week and the last race of the season in Red Bull Ring. I think 3 fully dry rounds of the season we've had on the calendar, because obviously Imola's dry for final race and Red Bull was dry for second race and Fuji last week. Oh. Hey, you got to mix it up a bit, haven't you? You got to make it interesting.
Yeah, just the H there having a little move to the inside, trying to fend off G, giving him the minimum amount of space, just trying to tempt him to make that move to the inside, but then covering the door off. So G's committed to one way and then blocking the door. So at the moment, AH holding the position, but G's going to have a look to the outside here, coming up towards Lesmo 1. I don't think he's going to be able to get that one done at the moment. AH parking his car in all the right places, very wily defensive driving from AH, and G's not quite able to get it around him at the moment, but he's really piling the pressure on. Is AH going to be forced into a mistake here, or is G just going to have to force his way around by some superb attacking driving?
Oh, that's
here.
Fury off in the background, was just ran wide into the grass. Sorry, Andy. What we're seeing here with the BMW up front is it's starting to struggle the wetter it's getting, and G looks like he's got that move done as we head towards the Ascari braking zone here. No, he's let AH keep the corner, and G playing it patient.
He's going to get a better exit. He's going to get a much better exit out of Ascari,
Keeks is in the pit again. He has got the run here, and this is where the BMW is struggling. Keeks is in the pit again. Mazda's down to 13th place. So can he gain on Kieran Argent? He's got a lot of time to do that. Look at AH. He pulls out now, down towards the Parabolica. G pulls out, and he's going to be up the inside line into the Parabolica over AH.
Got that one done.
Oh no, he's left it. He's let him have it.
Right.
Yeah, he's let it.
Oh, no,
AH, brilliant.
Still side by side here. G's going to have the inside. He gets the better run out of the corner. AH just went a little bit wide off the racing line, and when you get off the racing line in these conditions, it just puts you well out of sync in terms of where you need to be for the corner, and G just sweeps up the inside. AH still giving him a battle though. We're side by side here down towards the end of the pit straight into the braking zone. AH late on the brakes. He's got up the inside here. Is G going to see him? G gives him the space there, and AH goes a little bit deep into the corner. G's
got it
trying to
stopped.
undercut him when he exits the corner, but that's a brilliant move there from AH.
Great
Fantastic.
stuff.
Immediate response there from AH, and G in the end has to just move out of the way. You saw him coming with a good conscious driving there from G as well, to be fair.
How, Andy, did he get that BMW stopped? How did he get that stopped? That was fantastic racing.
It was a hell of a move. But we see here G having a little move to the inside, coming out towards the Deladrosa chicane, and he backs out on that one. AH goes a little bit deep into the corner. Is G going to try and get a run here coming out of the corner? It looks like he's got the run, but AH once again just driving really, really intelligently, putting his car where it needs to be.
And he seems to be good on the brakes, his AH, as he gets a bit of a wiggle coming out to Lesmo 1 and has to cut across the front of G's car to defend into Lesmo 2. Got a bit on the gravel. G will have the momentum coming through the exit of Lesmo 2 then, and you can see going down towards Ascari. AH is going to squeeze him as far as he can. AH does this on the pad, don't forget. So he's doing this on the pad. He's a quality competitor in this tournament, in this league, sorry. And G has got the move done before Ascari, but AH is going to try and outbrake him up the inside. Oh no, he can't get it done. G's just been able to get on the power earlier than AH in these wet conditions. AH will have the toe down the back straight. Fantastic driving from these front two. This is allowing Fury on the back, and Gary has gained 3 seconds this lap on the front three. So Gary really on it at the moment. Sooty 5th, Little Each 6th. Phil down in 8th, and Peaceful running 10th, all outscoring Mazda in this title race at the moment. Dean down in P14. He will drop into the bottom 3 if he fails to outscore D Biggs, or if D Biggs outscores Dean Wasocki by 4 points. And I think that is the case with D Biggs 11th, Dean 14th at the moment. But the battle at the front 3, how? I mean, G looks like he's pretty much gone now, 8 tenths up the road. But how did AH manage to keep it stopped at some of them chicanes really late on the brakes, that BMW? And it just seemed to work for him. Although he ran deep, because the chicanes are so tight and narrow, he'd actually got the car stopped for the second part.
Yeah, I just think he had so much more confidence than G. I just made that move on him and maybe thought he had it done, and then AH was saying, not today, I'm going to give it everything I've got, you're not going to run away with this one, G. But it looks like G's now got some clean air. He is starting to drive away a little bit. Hopefully AH can still keep himself in the hunt for this one. He's got Fury very close in quarters now as well, so Fury I'm sure will be wanting to pick up his first win here at SimPlay. Last week at Fuji we saw him second in race 2, so can Fury maybe try and, well, first he needs to get ahead of AH, but G's only a couple of seconds up the road. Has he got the pace to try and challenge G?
Keeks is in the pits for the 3rd time, and Emo Guy's back in the pits. That will possibly give, Keeks looks like he's had bad damage to that car. Emo Guy 12th, that should surely give Mazda another place depending on how this how long this pit stop lasts. And in fact, there's Mazda driving past him, you heard there. So Mazda up into P12, effectively P11 on the night. Obviously with G not scoring points, which will effectively give AH the race win. G will get it on the road, but AH will get it on a technicality. Fury just looked like he had a bit of a wiggle coming on the exit of Ascari there, and he's kind of lost a bit of time to A8 than what we saw earlier, Andy. And just maybe the slight mistakes creeping in for Fury.
That's it, maybe. I think that the fog is clearing up a little bit now, which might be helping AH a little bit, but it's the same for everybody essentially. So see Fury getting a little bit wide there onto the artificial grass on the exit of Parabolica. AH has definitely responded on this stuff. I don't know if it's Fury maybe dropping the ball a little bit though. G just does a fantastic lap there at 154. He's flying out the front. Now he's in some clear air ahead of AH. But yeah, Fury seems like he's not really gaining as much as he was on AH.
Keegs is in a tricky position here. He's just coming out the pits, and he's in a very tricky position where he
Very
can't...
good driving there from Keegs though.
Great awareness, great awareness.
Oh, who's gone DeLorean? Someone's gone DeLorean. Is Sutty DeLorean on your screen?
No, he's not on my screen, mate. No, he's all four wheels on the floor on my screen. That's great awareness from Keegs. Great driving from him to be aware of everybody coming and away he can get going now. He is currently last and well down on Monkey Boy. He can get going. G in the 154s. Gary quicker than Fury last time out, so is Gary going to try and hunt down Fury? Although Fury looks like he's gained a bit of time to AH through the first part of the lap, although he was on the gravel there when we jumped on Gary, and in fact he's got a bit of a wiggle. Fury's off, Gary's on the grass, and he's done well there to keep that.
That was a sympathetic excursion there from Gary as he saw Fury up ahead of him going off and just followed his exact line through there. So Fury off the podium, Gary up into third place. Gary now a step closer to gaining some real points. Oh!
We've seen a Sutty send it!
Oh, that's brilliant! Sutty has brought it back to the old days there. He's rolling back the years with that one. Brilliant.
There's no Sutty safeties at Monza. He needs points. He knows he needs every point over Mazda he can possibly get. That will technically be a third place points-wise for Sutty over G. Now that he's got past Fury, Little Each will want to do the same. Oh, Gary's round! Gary's round! So Sutty will pass Gary. Will Little Each get Gary as well? Little Each in the title hunt, so surely can't be. I wonder if Gary's just starting to feel the effects of his knee. I wonder if that's a problem or whether he's just caught a puddle. Surely he's doing well though, Gary, tonight. Hats off to Gary for still being out there and doing a good job.
This man is an absolute warrior. He must be in absolute agony right now, being on this rig for the last 2 hours with a knee that's only been operated on a couple of weeks ago. It's very brave of him to get on with this and put himself through this. Whether or not he's going to be able to do this for the rest of the season, or if he will be feeling the effects too much in the morning, we'll have to wait and see. But I just want to say a massive shout out to Gary for the effort and bravery that he's put in tonight. He's put it all on the line just for the championship here at SimPlay Motorsport, and you've got to give credit for that. We really have.
And although he's not going to be that 1 point behind Mazda like we said he might be early on, he's still gaining points over Mazda, and that's what you need to do at this stage of the season. Even if Gary takes a week off from the pedals, I know he's not next racing until Sunday over at the touring cars in Motive, so he's got a few days to rest if he wants to use the pedals again there. But what does he do? Oh, that's Sutty off in front. These puddles here at the exit of Della Rosa is catching drivers out. Little Each got caught up in it. Sutty was also off up front on the grass. So there's puddles at the exit of Della Rosa and it's catching drivers out here.
Yeah, and also on the exit of Lesmo 1 as well. You saw there Fury crawling over the curve and getting very slippery there on the exit of the corner. You can also see the puddle there, quite a curbing just as they come around that little kink towards the bridge.
AH just took the lead.
Coming towards the Ascari, it looks like we've got... what's happened to G?
G must have made a mistake. Yeah, he's had a big moment somewhere because he was well in front of AH, and AH now has the lead. There is Sutty Apex in the background, so he's reeling him in. There's Gary. Gary's got past Fury then as well, so that move has been done. Little Each looks side by side with Fury at the moment. 4P5 on track. And Fury just squeezing him a little bit there. Yeah, I think he's realised Little Each is actually alongside him a bit more, so has to get in the cars, and Little Each just outbreaks Fury into the Parabolica, but he's got it tucked up he's got it tucked up the inside beautifully.
Great stuff there from Fury, judging that to perfection, and holds on to that position. Little Each is going to have the run though, coming down the pit straight in the background here, or in the foreground should I say. We've got G having another look to the outside here of AH. These two have got so many battles coming into this corner. We see both of them going deep, hugging that white line on the edge of the track. You don't want to be doing that in the first part of the chicane, but thankfully for each of them, they both do exactly the same thing, so it's made no difference in terms of their battle. But this is great stuff here from these boys. G had the move on AH and was pulling away gradually, but on the last couple of laps he's lost a bit of time as G has a little look to the inside coming into De La Rocha. AH covers the line very nicely and G's not going to get it around him for the time being, but G is really letting AH know that he wants this position back. G was chasing his first win here at SimPlay. He obviously raced last week in Fuji as a reserve, but wasn't able to get on the podium.
He's got a good run. He's got a good run.
Right, coming out on left by one, and looks like G looking to the inside. Can't get that one done at the moment. Have to back out of it. But,
Andy, one thing I want to say.
AH wide there, coming out of Lesmo 2. G's got the run coming up towards the old circuit here, Matt.
He has indeed. One thing I want to say is look at the man behind. He's reeling these two in. He was 2 seconds quicker last lap. These two side by side as they come down towards the Ascari chicane, almost in sync there as they clip the puddle and both have a bit of a twitch to the left. And is AH going to be later on the brakes than G? Bit of a tap on the rear, but no effect there. G gets it stopped brilliantly at Ascari. So did AH. Sutio in the background's got the gap down to 2.7. Now don't forget, if he passes AH, he will have technically won the race here. And this is what Sutty wanted. Gary's up to 4th. Little Leach is up to 5th. Little Leach and Fury have just dropped off the back of that battle subsequently, so they must have had a good scrap, which has allowed Gary and Sutty to get away a bit. One man, a couple of men we've not spoke about is Unorthodox, Peaceful and Argent. Had a bit of a quiet race. We've not really seen much from these three. These see quite in close quarters as well so far.
Yeah, it's looking like they might see a battle between these guys in the last couple of laps. Kieran Argent's currently lapping quicker than both of them, so he might be eyeing up that P7 by the time we reach the checkered flag.
The question is, surely now for Kieran, he's 92 points off the leader, whereas his teammate's only 59. Surely you don't pass your teammate at this stage of the season, surely. Oh, G's done AH somewhere.
He's got a move, yeah, he's got up into P1. AH, I think, got a little bit out of shape coming in turn 1, but G's now right back on. He's right back on the rear of G once again here, coming through Curva Grande. Is G going to try and defend the move coming up towards the De La Rocha chicane? He's going to think about making a move to the end. Oh, we'll see AH pulling out to the left hand side. Brilliant move up the inside, mate. Can he get it stopped?
He's not got it stopped.
He overshoots it. He rides over the sleeping policeman and clips the sausage cab as well.
Oh, G's been caught on the puddles. Sutty's also around in the background. Sutty's round as I said he was catching. Sutty has lost it at the De La Rocha chicane. Gary now up into P3, and Gary will see these two battling in front. G made a bit of a mistake, managed to save it well from spinning around. But I tell you what, unbelievable. Get your votes in for driver of the day.
This is absolutely incredible. Everybody seems to be making mistakes now at the end of this race as the rain continues to fall. The standing water getting more and more treacherous. Are we going to see any crashes or late send-its here at the end of this race? Anything can happen here in the final lap and a bit as these guys come into Ascari for the penultimate time, but G finds himself back in the lead of the race once again.
One thing I want to say, Master and Phil have gained a place over D-Biggs for 10th and 11th, so D-Biggs has dropped well back at the moment. He's now down in 12th place, and I don't think he's got to worry about Dean Wasaki 26 seconds behind, but we'll have to say, Keegs has just commented saying, well done Emo Guy, sorry, well done everyone, sorry Emo Guy. So I wonder if Keegs and Emo Guy had a problem. I didn't even see Keegs retire. Keegs, mate, let us know what lap you retired on, so that we can get that jotted down. If you got to lap 12, you score points, don't forget, even though it is only 1, or it might be none actually, for 16th. But last lap then, get your votes in for driver of the day. Andy, who's your driver of the day, mate?
Driver of the day for me, I'm going to give this one to this man here, G. If he can stay in the P1 here, obviously he's joined the series last week as a reserve, isn't scoring points this season. He will be a regular driver in the Pro Series here at SimPlay next season in the GT3. But simply down to a debut win and the fact that he came back through the pack and made some great passes, got himself up into the lead. For me, the only G's got to take driver of the day this time.
Yeah, I'm going to give mine to Gary. A first in race 1, currently 3rd in race 2, and with his knee operation, Beth and Jamie have also voted Gary. I'm shocked Beth's voted Gary. But I've got to give it Gary. Hats off to him for what he's done on the wheel, with such a dodgy knee. I just think as much as G's drove well to get his debut win, and hats off to him. We've had good drives from Sutty, a good drive from Mazda. Unorthodox has done quite well. Peaceful Explosion just passed Unorthodox coincidentally, but I think Gary is the man who has to take it for me, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, G! Oh, he's binned it!
G's in the wall! What's happened? He's hit the puddle, coming through the... Oh my God!
Andy, your predictions, you've spoken too soon. Gary now hunts down AH. There is a second gap between them. And can Gary get the BMW on the penultimate lap? He could be in for a double win. We head through Ascari towards the Parabolica. And Gary is reeling in AH. The gap's 0.6 of a second. Half a second now is the gap. Gary's on a roll at the moment.
This is going to be unbelievable if he can do this.
If Gary gets this done, this will be a cracking drive for 2 race wins. Is he just going to take the points though? Gary's on the back of AH. AH has had a wiggle, and here comes Gary round the outside of the Parabolica. He's forced wide. Gary leads. They touch. Gary comes down the straight now. Here we go. He's going to win. It's Gary 131 who takes a back-to-back win. And what a drive for him in AH, but Gary 131, he wants this championship badly. He has taken another race win. Like you say, Andy, that could be
the win that's won in the championship. That is unbelievable. What a finish for the race we've just witnessed. I cannot believe what I've just seen. G bins the car, coming under the bridge in where the puddle is, and then Gary just nabs AH right at the last second.
He's blaming you as well. He's blaming you. You said in the chat, oh my days, Gary 131.
Oh my God.
What a drive. And take nothing away from AH. I said the BMW struggles in the wet. Mazda, Peaceful, what's happened to Peaceful in this final lap? He got up to 7th. He's now down to 10th, and Mazda's worked up his way up into 9th. I said the BMW struggles in the rain. And I tell you what, Gary 131 has just driven an absolute perfect race. Kieran, if you're listening, please leave it up at the end so we can see the final order. Wow. I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless. What have we just witnessed from this man?
That is
unbelievable. And Andy, you said it.
Drive that wins you championship.
Yeah.
He's in agony. He's just had a knee operation a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who do not know, this man is putting himself through unimaginable pain just to take part in these races and have a chance of getting the wins. And that was a champion's drive, despite a small mistake with a couple of laps to go. Dropped him another 5 seconds back. He kept believing. The belief this man must have had to just pick himself back up and keep going and keep fighting back. It's unbelievable. And he takes the win by 1/10 of a second ahead of AH. You cannot fault Gary for his resolve in that one, and he's got the reward for it. G in the end finishes on the podium. I've got to actually amend my driver of the day. I'm sorry, G, but Gary is my driver of the day just for pure resilience at the end of that race.
I mean, you said that is the drive that has possibly just won him that title, and I cannot disagree with you there. He has driven that car brilliantly all day. He's been superb. He's been on it from the word go. He's been absolutely fantastic. And
he really has.
Oh, what a drive from him. What a drive. I'm speechless.
He must have thought that he'd had that win gifted to him. Thing is, the lead changed twice in that last lap, but AH must have felt that he had got that win when he saw G in the barriers. He also got a feel for G as well, because he looked like he was going to take his first win here at SimPlay, but the curse of my driver of the day vote strikes once again there. I just can't seem to get a driver of the day prediction right. The only one I've got right
fastest lap? Fastest lap, 48.1 from G, but discounting G, 48.5 from AH. AH takes fastest lap, so well done AH on your fastest lap result. What that does to the championship though, pending stewards' inquiries at the weekend, is Gary now leads the championship again by 4 points after the drop score. Obviously this will be pending a few steward inquiries. We're seeing in the chat that there is a few things that people want looking at, and I'm sure we can get that sorted for them. I really do not know what to say about any of this tonight. Gary has. I think. Do you know what? I think we're going to have to get him in for a quick chat. I just do. I think he's been that good. We'll have to have a word with him.
we had there at the end. Though it really was a fascinating one to watch. It was phenomenal between those boys.
What we've just witnessed there, Andy, and you said it, could win the title for people. At the moment, Keegs has now dropped out of the title runnings. AH, Kieran Argent still in it. Peaceful and Phil still in it slightly as well. Sutty at Little each, 33 and 36 points behind. But Gary leads by 4 points and he joins us now. Where did you get that from?
Don't know, I just got my head down and kept going as quick as I could, really.
How's the knee, first of all, after tonight?
I don't know, I ain't stood up yet. I nearly shut out my chair after that one, but there you go.
Well, mate, you must have been loving it when G spanned. You was reeling in AH like he was going backwards. It was a bit like Peaceful to Little each at Silverstone, and you've just managed to... I don't know.
I got behind AH and I thought, points, or do I send it? And I sent one up the inside. He blocked that off quite well. And then got on the power, and he must have got a bit worried and put a bit too much power on, and then lost the rear and come down to the inside. So then I had to shoot to the outside and change my direction, and just managed to beat and drag to the line. So well chuffed.
Mate, absolutely top drive. You lead the championship by 4 points again now. So last week's not really affected you. Yeah, back in the game. On the pad properly from next week as well?
On the pad?
On the wheel, sorry, properly from next week?
100% yes.
Mate, top drive today. Mate, you've been absolutely brilliant today. Well done. Andy, it's been a pleasure. Do you want any last words?
I just want to say, guys, thanks for joining us on SimPlay Motorsport. And if you like what you see, drop a like on the video. 23 people watching. Let's get this video to 23 likes. We've already got 22. Big thank you to everybody for the support.
Thank you.
Also, well done, Gary. That was just unbelievable. I don't know how you kept believing right until the end there. Amazing drive. Seriously amazing. So well done.
Absolutely brilliant stuff then. Thank you from all of us here at SimPlay Motorsport. Congrats massively to Gary. Commiserations to everybody else. Good racing all night. We'll be back next week at Algarve, 8 PM Wednesday night for the Pro-Am, which is really hotting up and becoming quite spicy. And we'll be back Thursday night, 8 PM, same track for the Pros, in which is going to...
Calling to say I